And what's up, everybody? It's 2016, oh yeah, and it's January 7th, the first Thursday of 2016. And what time is it? It's game time. You're listening to John and Ted's excellent Gamecast, brought to you by RaptorCow. I'm your host and CEO of RaptorCow, Ted Edwards. And welcome to episode number 14. And as always, I'm here with Jonathan Nadeau. What's up, John?
Hey, how's it going, Ted?
Everything's going good. Broncos made the playoffs, yeah?
Not only did they make the playoffs, they are the number one seed.
Oh, you lucky bum. Yeah, the scenario was pretty crazy on that. Either the 1, the 3, or the 5 seed because of the hole you guys dug yourself during that little losing streak. But you know what? You prevailed. The Patriots lost as well. Fantastic weekend, I must say.
Not only did the Patriots lose, but this is the first time in like forever. They lost back-to-back games twice this year.
Oh,
and it's been like 10 years since they even have lost back-to-back games.
Wow, that's fantastic. Hey, so we have more to celebrate here throughout the episode. We can just keep rejoicing through 2016.
Oh, yeah.
It's a good start to the year. But John, we're not alone. We have two awesome gentlemen with us. We have Loren Segal.
Hey, what's up?
And we have Marlon. I'm not even going to try to mess with your name. How do you say your last name, Marlon?
It's Kuhnreich, but
Kuhnreich. Awesome.
Necessary.
Well, yeah, we have and Marlon's with us. What's up, guys?
Hey, how's it going? We're doing good.
Awesome, fantastic. So, what are you guys' New Year's resolutions this year? I mean, we're just gonna jump into it because it's 2016. We got to get that off, out of the way. So,
I think my New Year's resolution is to finally follow through with a resolution.
There you go.
I mean, that's a good start. Seriously, like, how many lists are out there that you're like, my 2013 list is still sitting here. Oh,
yeah,
maybe I'll get to that this year. Yeah.
Also, I like tautologies. So,
I'm not a big fan of resolutions. Like, I don't like arbitrary holidays, like New Year's and Valentine's Day.
Valentine's Day, screw it. Yeah. No.
I did make a resolution like a few years ago that I stuck with, and that was I forced myself to watch and appreciate like NBA basketball.
Oh, okay.
So there's that one, and I like this year I kind of made a semi-serious one where I'm gonna try to stay off like my iPhone, like my smartphone, like a bit more. Like instead of like sitting around with my wife and like looking at my phone, I'm gonna try to be a bit more present.
Yeah,
disconnect myself.
He watches TV by watching his iPhone first. Like we were watching TV a couple of nights ago, and he's basically just staring at his phone.
Well, that's actually a pretty good resolution. Unplug a little bit.
Yeah.
You guys ever play Stacked? Like when you guys go out to eat or whatever with friends?
Oh yeah, when you put your phones down.
Yeah, you put your phones out in the middle of the table. The first one to touch it pays for dinner.
I've never played that, but I've seen it.
Yeah, it's a good game because I can't stand it. Because I mean I'm on my phone a lot. Working, got calls coming in every second. But at the same time, it's like I can't stand how plugged people are. Like people walk across the street looking at your phone. That's not very smart. Like you'll be sitting on the couch and a family will have 3 iPads and 2 phones going and no talking, right? So yeah, like after dinner you see friends all on that. So like whenever I'm out with friends, I'm like everybody phones in the middle. Don't touch them. We're gonna actually have communication and conversation like humans. So
yeah.
So you're a sports fan then, huh? So yeah, who's your NBA team then? We'll get into that.
My NBA team was the Bulls when I decided. I was like, hey, I like Derrick Rose. I'll go with the Bulls.
Cool.
And then I realized that I cursed him and I cursed the Bulls by
watching them.
By watching them, yeah.
You just made a lot of enemies.
I was like, I like this Rose guy, and then like he just got injured a bunch.
Well, he's made of glass though. Seriously, he's been injured since the day he came in the league. He hasn't played a full season barely, so it wasn't your fault. I'll alleviate you with all the blame.
I think LeBron James, just because as much as people hate him, I kind of like that. Like, hey, you know what? Like he's out there, he's carrying teams on his back, and so now I'll just kind of just turn on basketball and I'll just watch a game. I don't really have a team because as a Canadian, hockey's still my obsession.
Yeah, we're still hockey boys.
Yeah, so I failed to bring that up here because, John, I'm sorry, I gotta get better at screening these guests, huh? Like, I mean, remember last episode I said that we are gonna have, not outsource our jobs and have an American-only broadcast, and now look at how we got 3 Canadians on here.
Exactly. I said Canadian invasion this episode.
Oh no, what am I gonna do? I'm overwhelmed.
And Jonathan Nadeau sounds like such a Canadian.
Oh, that's French Canadian to the T.
Total, my family probably makes up half the population of Quebec, so
Yeah.
you guys know NATO's is like Smith or something. In the United States, it's like there's so many NATO's. It's not even funny.
I know a bunch.
Yeah, see, there you go. Well, I think I'll give you guys a pass, for that, but we'll be okay.
Well, you have to ask them their favorite hockey team. Is it the Canadians?
That was
or?
my next question.
It sure is. We're both from Montreal, so it is.
Nice.
I'm a huge Habs fan, but growing up, I was a Bruins fan.
Oh, okay.
Nice, yeah.
So proud to say, but I loved Ray Bork, who is from Montreal. So that's how I chose to play it.
That's the only
back
New England team I can stomach is the Bruins. Like that's the
You don't
only
like the Celtics?
No. I can't stand any Boston team because of the fan base. They're just oh god, the Sox, like the Patriots and the Celtics. It's the fans are so gross. But the Bruins, I'm like, okay, you guys are all right. I've been to a couple Bruins games, so.
Yeah, that's why I stopped liking the Bruins, because of the fan base. So I'm with you there.
Okay.
Well, so I was living in Seattle before I moved down here in LA. And speaking of crazy fans.
Oh yeah, Seahawks fans. Yeah, like I went to high school in Washington, and all my friends are Seahawks fans. So, oh yeah, I know they're nuts, absolutely crazy. That 12th man is no joke up there. So
yeah, but were they giant, huge fans like back in the day with like Steve Largent and like Dave Craig at quarterback? And
well, I mean, some of them were like like 2 years older and then, but they've always been fans. I mean, even when like Ricky Waters was on the team back in the day, like Hasselbeck, But yeah, so they're pretty nuts, and now that the Seahawks are doing well, they started rough, and now they're kind of they're on the warpath now. So we'll see what happens. But every episode we have a couple guests on. But if you guys could both give a quick little rundown, so our listeners know who the heck those other voices are in the podcast, that'd be awesome. So Loren, let's start with you. Who are you?
Yeah, so I'm the lead developer and founder of Polyvex Interactive. We're a new game company, and we make video games. We're starting to prototype a bunch of games, and we're starting to work on some, and we're really excited about it. My background is sort of software engineering. I come from the software engineering world. I was working at Amazon before and stuff like that, and that's sort of I'm the technical guy. But I'm trying to branch out into games. I was always sort of making them, and now we're here, and we're really having fun doing it. So
sweet, Marlon, what you got?
My name is Marlon, and I am the creative director for Polyvex. I met Loren in Cégep, which is
Canadian
college,
Canadian college.
Yeah, and high school, I guess. It's a weird thing. Or actually, it's Quebec.
Yeah,
because they don't have it anywhere else. Anyways, and I actually own and operate my own commercial photography studio, and I write as well. Like for Epic Mealtime is one of the projects I'm involved with. They're a big YouTube channel.
Oh yeah, we know the 7,000 calorie bite of food for sure. We're good with that.
Yeah, exactly. That's right up your alley, Ted.
Mm-hmm. Oh, totally, exactly. You know me well already. You've done your research. I love it.
Well,
one of my favorites is the burger pizza with the burger inside the crust.
Yeah. Yeah. Lots of crazy stuff. And so I've known Loren for quite a while now. So when he had this idea to let's start a game company and make some games, I was like right on board. I've respected Loren's work for quite a while. He was always this kind of like guy who I knew once he was like, hey, I'm going to learn this computer language. And then a week later, he's like, yeah, I'm an expert now. So I knew once he decided to start programming video games, I knew that I should jump on board because he'd be great at it. And so far, everything's been going smoothly.
Yeah.
Cool. That's awesome. Yeah, I had a chance to meet Loren, I think it was a couple of weeks ago, right, at one of our the game dev meetups, and I got that sense right away too. So it's good to have you both on and everything, and so we are looking forward to diving a little deeper about the couple of projects you're working on in the new studios and everything. So John, you can hang out with Loren and the technical piece, and I'll hang out with Marlon, the creative guys, because that's our respective endpoints.
Yeah.
So perfect. So you guys ready to get in some news? The industry's back online after the 2-week hiatus, so I think there's some stories out. You guys ready?
Yeah, we're ready.
Let's do it. All righty. News. Let's see. Start off the bat with some pretty good ones. John, this is a good one, right for us, right up our alley. So this was kind of blowing up. It went viral yesterday. It's still going crazy on Kotaku, Destructoid, all the above, IGN. So it's a story about a blind gamer. So after 5 years, a blind gamer by the name of Terry Garrett, he's an engineering student from Colorado. He beat Ocarina of Time by himself and blind. So
that's awesome.
Absolutely awesome and amazing. Took him 5 years, and he had to use an emulator and save states, but he did it. And I watched his last YouTube. He just posted a couple days ago, and he actually beat that game, which is pretty amazing. I haven't even done that yet, so it's amazing. Did you guys see that story?
Yeah, having disabilities is really interesting stuff, especially around like how we design for disabilities in video games. It's really interesting stuff to think about and to talk about. And
when Loren and I sit down and talk about mechanics, it's when you have to pause and say, well, what, like, oh, hey, let's have an audio cue for this, part of the game. And you're saying, well, what if the guy playing it or girl can't hear? So it's interesting how, how obviously a game that wasn't, Ocarina of Time is extremely visual. So
yeah,
it's interesting how this guy really, overcame that and was able to do it. Because as you said, the game's pretty difficult even when you can see it. There's lots of challenging puzzles and everything like that. And it's also interesting because it is such a beautiful game, both, in audio and visuals.
Mm-hmm.
So,
so he used sound to get through, and I think John will speak on that. I think we've mentioned a few times in some episodes, but it's cool to hash that again about how he used to play games based on sound and memory, and then how when one of his favorite games was it RBI baseball, John, that stopped using the pitch sound. Yeah, and so he
triple play baseball.
Yeah,
was
triple play.
Yeah.
So I guess there was sound on the pitch, and when little, remember that old sound that when it pitched on the old school games, and he could time it up and hit it. But then when they stopped doing the pitch sound, it became more difficult. He couldn't time it up anymore. So yeah. But John, I mean, you definitely have experience playing games, especially difficult 3D games like Game Day '98 and stuff, which are competitive, and there's no set path. That's reactive, and you can still play that.
Yeah. I'm really interested to talk to him to see how exactly I did. I mean, I've never really bothered trying to play 3D world games. Only maybe I don't know if this guy was born blind or not.
He was blind at age 10, so he wasn't.
Okay, so because I mean, since I could see and I understand what 3D world games are, I honestly wouldn't even bother trying. So I would assume it would take 5 years to beat a game, because I just understand how the worlds are set up. So I wouldn't even bother trying. But this guy, that's the thing about anyone with any kind of disability, just because they can't do something the normal way or what's considered quote unquote normal doesn't mean they can't do it. And from my experience, anyone that has any type of disability, if they put their mind to it, they will find a way to get it done. And this guy totally proved that, and I love it.
For sure. And the good thing about it is his name is Terry Garrett, and he's actually going to be on next week's episode, so we're going to have him on. And he's pretty excited to be on, and then we'll hash that out and talk to him about it a little bit more in depth. But yeah, he actually did it because he wanted to prove he could beat 3D games. He beat awesome. He beat 2D games in the past, a bunch of Mega Mans and all those type of deals. But he's like, you know what, I'm going to take on this project, and 5 years later, and he knocked it out of the park. And like I said, if you watch his video, you can definitely tell that he's pushing through it, and he's just totally memorized every part. He's in Ganon's castle at the very end. It's just absolutely amazing. I was like, wow.
It must be a lot of audio cues, because I like just thinking of even Mega Man, as long as you time everything properly, and it's all trial by error, but
Yeah.
as long as you time things properly, you can tell like at a certain point in a song, like, okay, I need to jump here, or okay, I know there's an enemy here, I need to shoot like 5 times to kill the enemy, or so I wonder if there's a lot of sound cues that a lot of people didn't pick up on in the game, that he was like, oh, okay, I know if I walk this, to the left for 10 seconds and I hit this sound, in the music, I know I'm at XYZ location. So it just must have been an insane trial and error. It's probably goes back to, like I was saying, when I played Dragon's Lair 2, how I memorized, like 900 moves to beat the game, where, literally I would press left and I went to the next screen. So I said, okay, I know this move is left. When I went to the next screen, if I pressed up and I died, well, then I'd start over. I'd press left, go to the next screen, press right. And if I died, I'd press left, go to the next screen, press down, boom, I'd go to the next screen. So it was just trial by error, and then sooner or later, you beat the game when you memorize all the moves, and it had to have been what this guy had done, and that's really impressive.
Yeah, it's save states, and like I said, he was talking through his Let's Play in the last episode or the last part of it, and it was, he was going through it, and like even his last episode that he published had about 5-6 deaths within the first 30 seconds, but he still like kept pushing it. He just restarted real quick, and then he's like, oh yeah, now I have about 3 minutes left, and there's a timer, and he was like, he knew the timer, and he could hear like the pop-up, when Zelda like talks, there's like little menu pop-up, goes dink, so like it's a very audio pleasing game. So I thought it was pretty awesome, and we got to bring that up. So cool. So Terry, we'll talk to you next week, but I thought that was pretty cool. Congratulations. So
yeah, good job, Terry.
Yeah. Right. Next story. This is we're getting into the business side of stuff. So that was a fun side. But Valve. So Steam on the 3rd of January at 4:42 p.m. hit 12 million concurrent users. Holy crap. Talk about server load. 12,332,000 to be exact. And that's their new peak record. Wow. So say what you want. The French, remember that French organization trying to sue them, trying to sue
France.
Steam? Yeah, say what you want about bad customer service and all that junk. Numbers don't lie, my friends. So, I was one of those users, I'll have to say. So,
yeah, I was definitely on looking at all the sales.
Yeah, exactly. The sales are up. People was playing all the new games out. 12 million concurrent users. Wow. Like, remember speaking of WoW, WoW was all touting they have 12 million members, paying subscriptions. That's not concurrent users. It's 12 million people at one point decided, you know what, I'm going to play a video game right now, or go on to their service, which is pretty amazing.
I was one of those users on Steam, and I felt pretty guilty about it. Just like that data breach problem, which is
it just happened. Yeah, it literally happened like 2 days before. Yeah,
and it's a huge problem that we've all kind of swept under the rug, because we're like, well, Kerbal Space Program's 40% off. So okay, who cares?
I picked that up. I heard that game was awesome. I'm looking forward to playing that, by the way. So.
Yeah, so it's great that there's that many people on at Steam, because I think that just shows you just how popular video games are. Everyone knows video games are popular, but just how much on a global scale they're continuing to grow. There's a lot of growth in the industry, and that's what's great to celebrate. But then also it's the Steam monopoly problem that kind of like showed its face. Just the lack of customer service is well documented. And this breach is, everyone heard about it, and it's like, oh, well, was there a response? And they're just like, no. If we don't say anything, people will just forget it and check out the Steam sales, and that's pretty much exactly what happened.
They just made sales bigger, and it's actually the problem too about that is their shoddy consumer rights interpretations. So within like the licensing agreement that you click yes, like they have like explicit clauses that are ambiguous enough to be like, hey, if a breach happens, it's on you, not on us. Like every other consumer, like report consumer, like for like Best Buy, Target, like big time, even Amazon says, hey, like if even remember PSN, they had the huge breach, they had to like give refunds and all this stuff. No, like Steam is like, nah, it's on you guys. You guys, if it happens, if your stuff gets stolen, we're not liable. And so it's like, oh man. Yeah.
well, here's the problem: is that Valve is like 300 employees or something, and they're serving 12 million.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, when you have the company structure itself is like it's not really it hasn't really scaled with the number of users that they have, which is actually super impressive from a technical standpoint. The fact that they've been able to go this far and build such a big ecosystem for gamers,
right? And diversify from making games to making a platform that supports games. Like
with such a small number of employees, it's really impressive, actually.
Right. Yeah, you think they'd divide the company up into different divisions, which they obviously are, but I mean, the Steam division alone should be a minimum 300 people, just for Steam, and that's the customer support probably.
I don't know the exact employee numbers.
Right, but even so, it's not as much as you think, like, quote, Amazon. You worked at Amazon, thousands,
tens of thousands.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a different ballgame. But yeah, well, it's just... like I said, I made the comparison a few weeks back to Steam being Microsoft of 97, 98. Just the whole, just the monopoly kind of headlock on the industry, and it's going to come, and somebody's going to figure out and be like, hey, because there are laws against the monopoly stuff. So as long as Origins and all these other little side platforms are trying to make a deal, it's not going to happen. But as soon as those go under and Steam just totally dominates, then they're gonna be liable and have to be hey, take care of your business. So.
Yeah, well, the other thing I like about this is that it shows that PC gaming is a contender. It may not be like nearly as big as mobile and other Xbox and stuff, but it shows that you can make a PC game and you will have a lot of visibility.
I would argue that PC gaming is actually bigger than console gaming. Actually, right now, that's my personal, and just being right now in my side of the industry right now, that PC gaming is actually at a higher ratio,
right?
Oh yeah,
there's way more developers on PC. I mean, at least there's been an increase in the number of developers because it
helps the quality control is not as easy. You can just throw something up there, so it's easier to get on.
Yeah,
but also it's the lack of power in the step up from generations for these consoles. These consoles are not as powerful as you think for an 8th generation set of consoles, right? Like so. A PC is leaps and bounds. Even a PC that's 3 years old is still more powerful than the consoles right now, like much more. And so it's just there's that. And now that Steam is out there, it's like, I could buy this console game, or I could get it half off on Steam and have it in my library with everything and play it on multiple computers. I'm gonna get it on Steam, So
I've always primarily been a console gamer. I do play games on PC. But for me, it's always been the convenience factor. Mm-hmm. And I found that, consoles is where I will play the big AAA games, like the games that are an event. But I think PC is great, and a lot of the users are like, hey, what's, farming simulator? Oh, yeah. $20. Okay, well, I'll check that. I find PC gamers are very quick to, jump on, trends, and, they enjoy playing, the games a lot more, where it's like a lot of console gamers like, hey, do you play games? Like, oh yeah, I'm a huge gamer. Oh, what do you play? They're like Halo. Like that.
Call of Duty.
Just Halo.
Why play another game?
So
for sure. Yeah, it's I think it's definitely moved away to PC's become kind of a fluid. It was like PC Master Race for a while there, and then now it's kind of just a fluid thing. Like PC's just been recognized as just part of the atmosphere, part of the milieu, so to speak. It's just what it is. And so, I've always been about an everything, console and PC. I mean, there's definitely games that I play on PC, and that are PC only games, and especially all my RTS games that I played back in the day. But yeah, as this year when I'm going to build a new rig, So I'm definitely going to probably move into the PC space, and having that option is kind of cool. It's like, hey, I have it on PC, maybe I can throw some mods on this, or use cheat engine or do something fun with it, or get a better looking, turn the amp up on the settings to 11 and make it look beautiful, right? So
Grand Theft Auto 5 is a good example of that.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I heard like the re-release is just absolutely insane, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Except like the reverse is like Skyrim had that glitch that if you like max the settings, like on some of the newer graphics cards, like Skyrim just broke. Like you were trying to like fade in 4K, like you would like be driving, like you couldn't even start the game because you'd be on that horse cart and it would just like, start spinning.
Oh no! Yeah. Oh no! Yeah. I have Skyrim on PC and PS3, so it's like I have it on both. So like I'm one of those guys, but no, yeah,
it's and that's the example I use when I discuss like PC gaming with some of my friends. It's like, oh, if you want the best experience playing a video game, it's definitely on PC when it works.
Yeah, exactly.
When it works.
Yeah,
right.
When it works. Yeah, if you can get your settings that are nice, because every game is. And if you don't feel like fiddling with settings, buy a PS4 game and plug it in and go. And that's the convenience factor that you were mentioning, right?
Yeah.
I remember one of the bugs that I dealt with, I think with like Battlefield 3 or 4, when I was trying to debug like why I was crashing every 3 minutes, was like I had to look up on a random forum about my graphics card that I had just bought, and like figure out through pages and pages of answers that apparently like one of the voltages on the card was overclocked to a little bit more than it should have been, and you have to like underclock it by like 2 volts.
Jeez,
and that's the solution to make it not crash. And like okay.
Okay, and then the next game you got to turn it back up because you want to see
So it definitely it's harder. It's definitely more maintenance on a PC. A console's just going to work because it's what it's made for.
Right. The good thing I will say though is that NVIDIA, with that little NVIDIA program they have now, NVIDIA Experience, they've done a good job with that, of optimizing settings for games. I even use that I go into my NVIDIA settings and kind of change it for different programs. So like I have my Photoshop settings are different, with that, and so it's like it actually works pretty nicely. So you click in and they have like pre-custom settings that the developers have set for that, and it works decently well. I mean, I'd say like 85% of the time it's like, hey, right on, with the tweak here and there if it's getting a little bit of clipping or something, but other than that it's pretty good.
Yeah.
So, well, cool. Well, good job, Valve, but fix it. So we're just gonna blaze over the next one. It's kind of like I personally fell off this series after 3. It just broke my heart. But so the next big Assassin's Creed game is finally, for the first time in 6 years, it's not going to be annual. What? So they were talking about a possible series slowdown finally, and so they're not going to release an Assassin's Creed in 2016. Wow, right? So and it's supposed to be scheduled set in Egypt. So, and it's codenamed Assassin's Creed Empire right now. So, I thought that was interesting. I guess I'm not a big Assassin's Creed guy anymore, even though I was obsessed with number 1 and then all 3 2s. And then I got 3 and it just broke me.
Yeah, all 3 2s. I like that.
Yeah, all 3 2s.
I was also a pretty big Assassin's Creed fan at first. When the first one came out, I thought it was absolutely incredible.
Yep.
Just running around like the ancient city of Jerusalem, and Altair was so cool.
I love too. I mean, like the second one, when they introduced Ezio, it was amazing. I was like, wow, this is cool. And then, like I said, when they got this weird Conrad guy, number 3, and like I would jump up in a tree and the tree would disappear. I'm like, what? And I'm still up in it and I'm floating. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. I mean, the technical problems aside, for like Assassin's Creed 3, it was a lot of just walk around the wilderness and get this bear pelt and then bring it to Benjamin Franklin in Boston, and you're like, oh,
and Conrad is such a whiny brat.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, hey, build this village.
Yeah, get some settlers and build this. And by the way, you don't really care and you're sad about things, but you're not likable. It was just bad. I didn't finish the game. I couldn't. I was like, I'm done. I gave it to my godson. I was like, here you go, play this.
I finished it, but then it was like, oh, okay. And then they announced like 8 more Assassin's Creed games.
Mm-hmm.
on mobile and different platforms, and like 3 games coming out at once. And I was like, you know what? I don't care anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I think it's about time. It's a long time in the works to kind of slow the series down. If they even want to make it still a viable thing, you gotta do this. You gotta take a chill. Like people are getting tired of it. They don't want to eat steak every night, man. Just give them a break. So.
Yeah. Well, I'm still waiting for them to make the game set in feudal Japan that everyone wants.
Oh yeah. That would be sick. Yeah, Samurai. Oh yeah, Bushido. That I would play that instantly. I don't care what game it is. So,
or even if it had like a Song of Ice and Fire or like Game of Thrones kind of tie-in,
or even think about like a World War I or II setting. That would be cool. Like just something modernish, but like still like on a big, huge, at a time frame. Because revolutionary time is cool. London is, cool, but something that's like really resonates with people, in a big way. And obviously feudal Japan is pretty awesome. You can't go wrong with that, but we'll see what happens with this new setting. But yeah, I just thought it's interesting to mention that, that maybe Ubisoft is kind of being like, oh, maybe we're going to listen to people this time instead of just doing what the numbers say.
Yeah. Well, if you're from Montreal, like we are, you end up knowing lots of people from Ubisoft because they're there. And actually where my studio is in the Mile End of Montreal, and that they actually like mentioned the Mile End in Assassin's Creed 3 a bunch of times in the village that you're there. So like my studio is on top of Ubisoft, like on the floor above them. So I always see the guys like in the elevator going to lunch. So
pulling their hair out.
The story, Marlon.
Yeah, it's always fun to like. I'm gonna go this week and be like, hey, I heard about Egypt. Is it true?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they'd be like, hey, tell me now.
Go break some news.
I'll start falling through the vents.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, just bug them.
Go Assassin's Creed on them.
Exactly. Just sit up on top of it and jump in a hay bale or something.
Jump in a like recycling bin.
Yeah, just ha, and then pull one in the recycling bin and interrogate them.
Yeah, if you notice me, I'll just like
sit down in a bench, just at someone's desk.
And then be like, oh, okay, I think this is going too far. Slowly walk out.
Slowly just go back into the recycling bin. And
Yeah. They didn't see it.
Yeah.
Oh, man. All right, so moving on to the next story, kind of going on with numbers and the business side of things, because, video games is a business now. But again, the industry takes a couple of weeks off for the holidays. So this story first broke about a little over a week ago, but the second half didn't. It's kind of a new thing. But Activision Blizzard, so speaking of monopolies, Activision Blizzard buys out MLG for $46 million. I think that was the big thing last week. Everyone knows MLG is the Major League Gaming, esports type of deal. And it's no secret that the company has kind of been hurting in the financial department. Had to refinance, for $6 million of debt and all this kind of stuff that they're doing. So they've been hurting. So Activision buys them out. Well, this just came out that they actually shut them down. They shut them down this week. So
that's like competition.
Yep, exactly. Well, they didn't really want it for the competition. They wanted it for the infrastructure because they see they're just drooling over the international every year for Dota, what League of Legends does, and now they're like, things like this, entities like MLG or even the ESL are going to be, personally, I think, pushed out because of the individual large studios are going to be like, we can do it ourselves and we can run our show internally, especially now that Blizzard hired the ex-ESPN and NFL network CEO to run their esports.
Yeah.
So now they have the infrastructure of MLG and everything. They're absorbing the assets, and now they can just be like, you know what, we're awesome. Now we got our stuff, and we're going to rock and roll. And so they're just setting up for an esports just domination and monopoly for their own games. And so they'll probably pull their esports games from any other, third-party network.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens there. So no more Hearthstone on ESL, and it'll be. And they were, I think the story mentioned, it was interesting to see like what's going to happen to like the Counter-Strike, competitions and everything that are on there that MLG supports and stuff. So, who knows? I mean, maybe Counter-Strike will have to make its own deal or whatever.
MLG is such a big brand, though, that I find it weird that I can't see them just like never like closing it and never using that again. Considering even like all the kids playing FPSs, and it's always like, oh, MLG Pro, MLG Quickscope, MLG,
Yeah.
Well, it's going to be something else because they dissolve the studio. It's bye bye. So yeah, they might use the name, but most of the assets they said are going to just transfer to Blizzard. So they're just going to, or Activision Blizzard. So whatever they do with it, maybe they'll rename it, or they might use the name of it. But again, the MLG itself is gone because it's funny. Like I think I sent you guys the story link, but in one of the I kind of did some more research on it, and the CFO is now the CEO, and I read a little bit about it, and that it's so interesting. That was part of the deal. And I don't understand why, because the company was in dire financial states. So you're going to promote internally the guy. Yeah, the guy who's like
the money problem.
Yeah, I was like, huh? Okay.
I don't think that's a video game industry thing. I think it's just
Not at all
industry thing where you just fail upwards.
Fail upwards. I like that. I mean, some industries you can do that in. I mean, and actually a lot of the closed industries you can do that in. So. Again, me being a coach in like the NFL and that type of stuff, that is something you can easily do. So how many NFL coaches get fired and then they get hired as a coach later, right?
Oh, exactly. That's all sports coaches. Where it's like the same 30 guys and they just shift around.
That's all it is. Like you're saying, like now that I broke into the NFL, like I can get back in it. But when's the last time you've seen an NFL job post on any market? You don't. It's all about who you know, right? So it's all ancestral. Like, oh, I know that guy, but haven't you coached for 3 teams and had a total winning percentage of like 19%? Oh yeah, come be our head coach. Cool. Because your agent's good and we worked together in 1985. It's like, oh, okay.
Networking's important.
Truly, it's all about who you know. That's the name of the game. So I just thought that was a story that you got to talk about because it's going to shape the future. And I think 2016 is the year of esports where they're really going to try to make it kind of like a big push. So it's going to be basically the year of VR and esports. Like that's what this year is.
I don't think we've even seen like a fraction of the untapped potential of
not even close. Not even close.
And I think that no one's really structured it properly.
Mm-hmm. But we're on the cusp, right? This year, everyone's positioning right now. All the big guns are ready, and that's what it's all the buzz, all the talk. Everyone's preparing for that.
Yeah.
So
that's hiring ESPN guys, and you're really trying to position for it.
So. Oh yeah. I remember when they posted that job about maybe 6-8 months ago. They were looking for someone gangster, and they got former ESPN exec, NFL Network exec. I mean, he's a baller, and now he's going to be running video game esports. So it's just like they really want to make it a TV network entity league, licensed thing. So
that's good.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting. I just hope it's not so pervasive and disgusting, and just businessy. I hope it's.
Like
pure.
XFL.
There's that, or even the NFL, or even just like I just don't want it like slathered up with just with
soap
energy drinks everywhere.
Stories.
Yeah, soap opera stories, energy drinks everywhere, like money and TV deals. So it's just like in your.
But that's exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly. No, that's what it's gonna. That's what's gonna happen. I know it, and especially this move is exactly it. Oh yeah, absorb MLG. We'll take all your assets, all your your fan base, all your, everything, your reach, we'll just absorb it. And by the way, your CFO, come join us as the CEO because we know you and we can make a deal and you can make money for us. Cool.
Look how good you were at MLG.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll see what happens, but gross. So, all right, moving on. This is a big one. I'm going to run down the list. We got a lot of games here, but 2015 was the year of reboots and remasters, right? I mean, there's a lot of those. It was all over the place. A couple good games came out this year, though. A lot of indie type titles. There were some good big budget AAA titles that came out. So a much better year than 2014. But 2016 is shaping up to be pretty darn awesome. So Sony and Microsoft both announced their exclusive lineups for this year coming up, and I'm just going to quick run down a few of these titles just to kind of get us a little excited. So for PS4. We got, for the first party exclusive, we got Horizon Zero Dawn, which looks kind of cool. Uncharted 4, of course. The Last Guardian, Gran Turismo Sport, Gravity Rush 2, Ratchet and Clank, The Tomorrow Children, Drawn to Death, Dreams from Module. And so we have some good games there. And then obviously we got timed exclusives like Street Fighter 5. You got No Man's Sky coming out. Everyone is finally wanting to come out, right? Like, what the heck is that? Is it going to be a game? So Sony is looking strong, like right off the bat for the big ones. So I'm excited for most of those games. And then for Xbox and Windows, you got like stuff like Gears of War 4. You got Halo Wars 2, Crackdown 3. They're rebooting Fable, which we'll see what happens about that. It's an open beta, but the Fable Legends coming out. Killer Instinct Season 3, everyone's pretty pumped for that. And then Ori and the Blind Forest Definitive Edition, that should be good because it's adding a couple new stuff to it. And then Cobalt. But so there's some good things coming out. And that's early 2016, most of these. So first half, except for I think one of them is a little later. But so 2016, and that's not even mentioning VR stuff. So
well, I'm an Xbox fanboy. When I look at this list, I was like, oh, PS4 is looking pretty cool.
Yep, exactly. I guess I wouldn't consider myself a fanboy. I will pick up an Xbox One here soon. I was a PlayStation fanboy because it's just what I got growing up. So I had PlayStation 1, 2, 3, I guess all the way up, and I hated the Xbox controllers, so I just never gravitated towards it, right? So we'll see what happens, but the PS4 lineup is looking good, like looking real good. So
I got the Xbox because I love Halo.
Right. Okay. Well, Halo's good. Halo's awesome. I mean,
Halo's good.
Good memories back in the day of stringing 4 Xboxes together on playing them.
Yeah, but Marlon, you're not excited for the new Halo stuff, right?
Well, I'm friends with Vic De Leon on Twitter. I met him through Harley from Epic Mealtime, and he was a creative director on Halo. And just before Halo 5 came out, he announced he was leaving 343 to start his own company. I was like, hey man, why? Halo's doing so good, and the new trilogy and everything. And then I played the story of Halo 5, and I was like, oh, you're a smart man.
I heard the cliffhanger at the end was annoying.
Yeah, it was just how they're like, Halo, you love the Master Chief. Now buy this game where you never get to play as him.
Right, half the time. And then it's like, yeah. I heard it's a beautiful looking game.
Absolutely.
I've seen it play, but I haven't played it personally. It's just solid.
Yeah, no, the actual gameplay is amazing, and the multiplayer is I think it's the best Halo's ever been. I think it's amazingly balanced, but it's just Halo 2, I remember.
Right. It's just not a high enough step up it should be.
Stay up and just listen to that, score as I, keep playing these missions.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not gonna bother singing on your podcast and ruin it.
Sorry, I'll do it for I'll embarrass us all.
That Steve Vai guitar.
So, I mean, there's a good lineup. I'm excited. 2016, and we have a lot to look forward to. I mean, this year should be good. I think there's going to be a lot of moves and shakes in the video game industry as it matures. I mean, we're 35, 40 years in the industry now, and it's starting to come into its own. And now we're at that crossroads where it's like, okay, VR's a thing, esports a thing, mainstream's a thing. Consoles with all connectivity sharing the thing. So this is we're on the cusp of the explosion, and it's just going to be fun to look at. So we'll
if we're talking 2016 games, there's a lot of PC titles that I'm excited for.
Oh, me too. Yeah,
The Division and that are really looking cool. So I mean, those aren't even in this list, and right. I think those outnumber, in my opinion, this list here.
Oh yeah, totally.
No Man's Sky is something I'm really excited for, and
me too.
Firewatch is another.
Firewatch, yeah. The Blizzard was showing a bunch of that stuff. It looks kind of cool, and then Overwatch as well too. That's what I was mentioning.
Oh yeah.
Overwatch. That looks pretty cool as well. But there's some stuff coming out. So the last news story. We've been a little long with the news, but it's okay. Good stuff. January 6th, 8 a.m. Pre-order started. The Oculus. Oh crap! Here we go. VR is here. So. The Rift is bundled, so every Oculus Rift is bundled with Lucky's Tale, and then people who pre-order, they get the VR edition of Eve Valkyrie. So holy cow, VR is upon us, everybody. Are we ready? Are we gonna mess with it, or what's going on?
I don't think I'm going to really mess with VR this time around. Although I'm really interested in playing, like, especially the cockpit pilot type VR games, especially like Eve and those type of space shooters are perfect for VR. I think there's going to be an interesting story as to how VR sort of works with all of the other kinds of games out there. But I mean, the technology is way better than it was the last time around. 90s and
Virtual Boy, I keep bringing that up, but the Virtual Boy was so awesome. Like, I like burning my retinas.
Yeah.
Never got one.
But I mean, like, it's still cool it's cool. I think it's going to be fun to like play around with. I don't know if you're going to find that many people willing to put in, hundreds of dollars to, basically set up a rig and everything. It still needs a lot of computing power to run some of the VR stuff. And I don't know if like people are really willing to do that much for maybe just a couple of titles. I think as we go on and as the industry moves on, like this year, next year, you'll start seeing titles that are going to be must-haves. And once you have those must-have titles, I think that sort of changes the game. But I don't think we've seen those yet. I don't think we've really seen the game that's like, you must play this on VR and you cannot play this on like regular TV, on like regular computer screens.
They're just being so cautious right now with it, and I think we'll see what happens. I mentioned last time, remember, John, when I was talking about who was going to come out to be the player, like, I don't think they should fight right away. I think everyone should come out all nice and happy with each other and just get stuff out, get it in people's hands first.
Yeah.
So again, we'll see. It's just here now, and that's crazy. I mean, Samsung, they came out the gates first, and people really liked it. It's a low price point with $99, with the Gear VR, and just snap your phone in and have some cool little, dopey experiences and enjoy it. And then now we're having, PSVR is going to come out this year. We got the Oculus here. So it's in front of us, and now it's from a business standpoint, like, I'm just interested to see what the market does. And so, hey, like, no turning back now. It's either going to be a colossal explosion or a colossal flop. So we shall see.
As a creative, I'm interested to see what people do with it. We're interested to actually play around with VR ourselves with games that we're working on. So I mean, we're as much as I say, like, I don't really want to touch it yet. We're still like, we're trying to we're trying to figure out what that right experience is too, and we want to make it so that people do. Like, I would love to have VR games. I think to find the right ones and play the right ones, and then I think that's going to change all of our minds and stuff like that. And, but I'm excited for it.
Yeah, it's interesting too. Like, again, some of the game ideas I have for design for this year when I start, towards the end of the year, designing my own games for my studio is kind of, how am I going to integrate VR, or am I going to integrate VR? Yeah, and it's a difference. Are you going to integrate it, or are you going to build it from the ground up?
Right.
That's the interplay. It's like, what do I do? Do I dedicate 2 years of my life to a technology that's going to die? Or do I, or do I try to make an experience that's great, and if you have VR, it enhances it, right? So that's what's going to happen. These developers are going to have to take the risk. And
I think the second one is a safer choice. I think you're going to see a lot of that, where it's like, especially
on, at least, for sure.
Especially for these space shooter games, it's like very easy to just say, okay, we're going to build the game, and if you want to play with VR, great. If you don't, then no problem. I think the more experimental games that sort of take you on a VR journey, those ones have the risk associated with it. All great. Like, I hope they work out, but like those definitely are the riskier bets. But I think you'll definitely see a lot of people just say, like, hey, by the way, if you want to play this in VR, go ahead.
Cool. Yeah. Well, that's it for news, fellas. You guys got anything else?
No. Should we do the trolley thing?
No, that's later. That's the topic of the week. So yeah,
it's like, no, I will control the time.
Right. Yeah, no, that's the topic of the week, because that's a good topic. But if you have any other news, I think we're good. So we're gonna take a quick break, and then we're gonna come back with your guys' interview and dive a little deeper and see what you guys are working on. Cool. Sound good?
Yeah, awesome. Sounds good.
All right, let's take a break. everyone do a couple laps around the house. Let's stretch out the legs. Everything feeling good. We're ready to rumble.
Yeah.
Alrighty, so we are here with Loren and Marlon. Awesome, very new studio, ready to make some awesome games coming up, and we're going to listen to kind of the projects they're working on, what their style, it's, kind of about what they're doing right now. And so on staff, our resident journalist is going to take you to the interview. So Jonathan, have at it.
Hey guys, thanks for coming on. We appreciate your time.
Yeah, we're really happy to be here.
Yeah, loving it.
Hey, so I guess I'll go with Loren first. So Loren, before we get to the studio and the stuff you guys are working on and all that, take us back to kind of the beginning. Like, what was kind of the first game you played? Have you always been, wicked passionate about gaming? And, what was that game that made you, be like, I want to get into this industry?
Yeah, I've always played video games. I think the first couple games I played, it was when I was like probably around 8. We got a Nintendo when I was a kid.
Awesome.
Old NES system. And I think the first game we ever played was Zelda, the gold cartridge.
Oh yeah.
So we got that on I think on New Year's, a long time ago, and I was super excited to play those NES titles. I played a lot of NES, Super Nintendo, Sega games. But my mom was a programmer for Bell in Canada.
Nice.
And she had a computer at home to do work, and every now and then we would get games on floppy disk and stuff like that.
Nice.
So back in the day, I would be as a kid playing games like QBasic games like Gorillas, if you've ever played that game.
Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And Worms and all those Nibble and all those fun games. And,
Nibble, that's awesome.
Yeah. And a bunch of other weird QBasic games, and I don't even know how we managed to find those games back before the internet. But I was always playing on console, on PC, and all those kinds of games. But when I was 11, we got Quake, and that changed my life. That game completely changed my life. I think when I played that game for the first time, that's when I realized I want to be a computer programmer. And B, I want to make video games.
Nice.
So that was like the seminal moment for me as a kid.
Cool.
I've always been a big PC first person shooter gamer. I played a lot of Quake 2. Half-Life was big. Counter-Strike, Team Fortress, Battlefield, all those kinds of games, and that's sort of what sort of got me going. But yeah, I mean, it was definitely like that was like the birth for me was playing Quake for the first time. It sort of opened my eyes to, oh wow, you can make these beautiful 3D worlds, and I want to do this one day. And I think now we finally have the ability to do that, and we're really excited to do that kind of stuff. So.
That's cool. A slight rabbit trail. Have you seen the Quake version you can play in like full HTML5 online now?
I've seen different versions. I don't think I've seen that HTML5 thing, but yeah, I mean, you could play Quake Live in your browser and stuff like that. I haven't seen the HTML5 thing. That I have to go check out.
Yeah, it's really cool. So Marlon, kind of the same question for you. Like, what did you grow up playing, and what kind of made you be like, oh yeah, I want to be involved in some way in this industry?
Well, if you were born in the 80s, obviously the answer is NES.
Oh yeah.
My sister, who is a few years older than me, begged my parents for the NES, and like they got her, and she played Mario Brothers for like half an hour, and then never played a video game again in her life.
Perfect for you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that worked out.
It became my NES, and then I just don't think I've ever put it down.
Same for me, man. Like I got my NES, and I played Mario, and it was over.
Yeah, I had one friend growing up, and he was like the kid that like had a Mac instead of a.
Mm-hmm.
And like he had an Atari instead of an NES, and like one of the games we played was like a hide and go seek, where like it was a 2-player game, but there was only one controller. So like,
oh yeah, I remember that.
Go hide, like, or like player 2, leave the room.
Right.
So like, for me it was like just that, like that's what you did with your friends. You hung out and you like, oh, we played Nintendo. Like Nintendo was always like such a center of all my social interactions. Like Mortal Kombat. I love fighting games. So Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, Killer Instinct, it was always like, hey, you're player 2. No,
That's awesome.
like I get the left side. It's my house.
Oh, and when you went to the other person's house, you had to play player 2. Yep, that's how it always was. It's like home field advantage. Yep, we used to do that.
And I'm the older brother, so
Oh, okay.
player 1.
Yeah,
Sorry,
my sister knows Luigi all too well.
Yes. I was the younger. I was actually Luigi.
Oh, see, yeah. There's that funny BuzzFeed that goes around. And it had like a picture of like old school Mario Brothers Luigi with the white and the green. It says, "If you know this character, you're probably a younger sibling."
yeah. And it was also like that. You didn't trade. It wasn't your turn until someone died, so you can go through like 4 levels of just like
Yeah, just chilling. Yep.
yeah, watching player 1 just like jumping on coins and everything.
And then like your younger sister would like die like in 2 seconds, and you just my turn, and you play for like 20 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. 4 hours later. But and then online gaming. I remember when I was finally able to get my router working and get internet access so I could play Quake 3. And that was my first kind of like introduction to clan-based gaming and playing with other people. And that was an experience that I absolutely like loved, because it was like Quake 3. Well, I didn't care about the story, didn't care about anything. It was just like getting along with your friends and like shooting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so that was great. And that's continued with through Halo. I actually play a lot of Destiny now too.
Nice. I just fired up Destiny for the first time like 4 days ago, so you'll have to like walk me through some stuff.
Yeah.
I'm level 6.
Okay.
I got the Taken King Legendary Edition, so I have all the expansions plus like 2 full level up characters. So yeah, so I'm like, okay, this is Destiny. Okay, got it. Okay.
Yeah, it's a love it or hate it kind of game.
I don't mind it. I like it.
Yeah. I've been enjoying it.
So Marlon, was Quake that moment where you're just like, oh yeah, like this is I'm all in. This is what it's all about. Like, was Quake that game for you too? Then
Quake 3 definitely opened my eyes of like once I was playing with people all over the world, and it wasn't like, oh, like video games isn't just like me in my basement with like 3 friends.
Right.
It's like,
right.
This is a global thing, So
Yeah.
And I don't have the technical know-how like Loren, who was probably like, oh, like how does the networking work? How does this, It was just like, cool,
Tell me
blood.
stack.
Yeah, but creatively, definitely the Halo series, like and I played, I played Ocarina of Time. I've, like Grand Theft Auto. Like I played all these story-based games, and like they were all great. But I think it was definitely Halo, the Halo series that, and growing up, as a huge Star Wars fan, like Halo is like the second series for me, where like I knew all the lore and like I read the books and like I really, like any supplementary material I would read, and like that's when I was like, I would love to create my own world and my own franchise.
Yeah.
So
No, that's really cool. So I guess back to Loren. Like, so tell us a little bit about the studio, and I'll have a few more questions for you. But tell us kind of what made you want to start the studio, and some of your guys' like, your vision that you have kind of for this year with the studio.
Yeah, so we started the studio back in just September 2015, just a couple of months ago. So we're really young, and we're sort of still trying to figure out what it is, what really the kind of games that we want to make. Although we have our clear inspirations. We're both sort of FPS gamers at heart, although we play different kinds of games. But I think for us, it's going to be like we want to bring that like team based fun. Like we are both about team based games and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And that's a big part of the kinds of games that sort of draw us to the screen, and team based games and team based interactions and like that. Nothing is better to me than that really solid night that you have where you really like connect with your team, and you have this great game, and you're on voice chat, and like everyone's
does their job and everything works perfect.
Yeah, it's that's like the ultimate online experience.
I agree.
And it brings it to such a new level, and those are the kinds of experiences that we want people to have more of, and those are the kinds of games I think drive us to make the games that we're making. At the same time, though, like we have different, we have different inspirations too. Like we're also story based. Zelda's one of my favorite franchises. So we like telling stories. We like creating our own, worlds. Just like Marlon said, I would love to create my own world where there's a backstory and there's stuff around it, and you can get lost in the storytelling and the art and in the visuals and in the music. Basically, we just want to create something. I've always been the creative type. Like I've always wanted to create things, and I think this is just one of the best outlets that you can use is video games. You can create stories, you can create interactive experiences, you can create fun shooting stuff, and it's basically everything. It's a movie and sports put together. Basically, you can do everything.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Loren, I have another two-part question for you, and then I'll get to Marlon. So,
sure.
Speaking of games, do you plan on using any particular game engines? And if you do, which ones are you going to use and why? And what's your favorite programming language?
Oh, wow. So we're using Unity for the games that we're prototyping right now, just because it's much easier to get started with. The ramp-up time's much smaller, and us just branching out. We don't really have a large code base and depth of experience. So Unity's a really good one. We've been looking at Unreal Engine. It's also really, really good. I think right now we're going to stick with Unity, although like Unreal's a really, really solid engine, something we might actually look at in the future in some of our next games. But Unity's a really solid platform. I've been using it for a while now, and it's really, really easy to use, really, really quick to get started, and I'm enjoying it personally. As far as my favorite programming language, it would probably be Ruby is my favorite programming language. I've done like a lot of Ruby code in the last 8 years, I guess. That's probably one of my favorite languages. I'm sort of this language polyglot where I learn like a language a year, as Marlon said a while back. So I know a lot of different languages. When I was working at Amazon, I think I used 4 of them over the course of my time there. So I definitely
easy stuff, nothing hard.
I mean, I actually got hired to be a Ruby programmer at Amazon. Ended up being a JavaScript programmer within 2 months. Full time.
That's
dang.
So I switch around a lot, and that was by choice. Like no one said like you can't do Ruby anymore. It was sort of like, hey, I'd rather do this now. So I'm definitely that kind of person. So jumping into C#, which is Unity's language, super easy. I've used a bit of C# before, but it's definitely like similar to other languages I've used. So I don't really pick favorites, but Ruby is the one that I probably have the most experience with and enjoyed working with the most, I guess.
Yeah. Every language has its kind of use and test case. So that's good. It's good to be well run. Does Unity let you play outside of C#? Can you do other code on you?
They have JavaScript support, so you can do JavaScript. It's sort of this JavaScript version that they sort of mess around with, but I think if you wanted to, you could probably embed Lua inside of Unity and use it for this. I'm sure there's plugins to do that, and that's that. Yeah, so you could if you wanted to, you could.
Yeah. I know the Java integration is almost like Markdown with HTML. It's like almost like kind of a simplified version of it, right?
Yeah.
Of the Java integration with the Unity C# stuff.
Yeah, I haven't really looked into that, but I imagine that you could probably get away with that too.
So Marlon, I'm assuming since you own your own like photography studio, you're kind of the art and design guy. Is that right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. When Lauren talks this is like when I kind of like just zone out. But
eyes glaze. So I have to wake you up now, right?
Yeah. No. I mean, it's obviously I'm interested in that stuff, but Loren is
for sure
the other beast, because I know like you're talking about engines, and I know it doesn't matter because I feel like in 6 months Loren's just gonna get frustrated
and change languages totally.
He's gonna wake up like 3 days later with like a bunch of like takeout like foam all around. He's like, yeah, we made our own engine.
Exactly. We created the Segal engine. Like it's a new engine that's coming out.
Yeah. And if you know Loren like as well as I do, like that's not an exaggerated joke. Like it might happen. He just has to like get angry.
Loren, you and I sound like we have a lot in common. I do the same thing with my company. I just like I'm gonna do it from scratch. Start from the bottom up. We're starting over.
I will say that I'm pretty sure that we're not going to invent our own engine. I'm saying that.
Yeah, knowing that, I figured you would have gravitated more to the Unreal Engine just because they open sourced it and stuff, so you can like really dive in and you know
really play with it.
Yeah, if there is something there you don't like, you can create it. You know.
But with the speed of getting a game out, Unity is so right there. You know. Yeah.
I'm a huge open source proponent. The stuff that I did in Ruby is like I wrote a bunch of open source libraries, so I definitely like open source. But I think yeah. To Ted's point, it's just quicker. Yeah.
Anyways, Loren Engine dropping 2017. Get ready for it.
Yeah.
So Marlon, so being the art and design guy, like, what are your like favorite tools that you like to use, or like, you know, where to get inspiration from? Like, you know, give us some thoughts behind that.
Definitely, my inspiration is just from reading, watching movies, like consuming any type of creative media. I absolutely love it. I love to just sit down and just write. And just you know, make up backstories, make up just stories. You know, write silly cutscenes, like write some direction. I consider myself a Photoshop expert,
nice.
So I can definitely whip up kind of concept art like that. I got into photography because I can't draw. I always wish I could draw properly. Like art from scratch. So like photography was that creative outlet where like it's you're limited by your mind, not by what your hands can do. But
Sure.
I'm actually not that bad at doodling, but I like sitting down writing a scene, like imagine this happens and this going, and then passing that off to an artist and be like, make that.
Yeah. What's your favorite movie and video game for art, like art design?
Ooh.
There's a lot.
You can give a couple. Give two or three for each.
I guess I will hold you to one for each, but yeah, give us an idea. Of
your style. Kind of what you like.
We've been talking a lot about like Minority Report and Oblivion, which were beautiful movies, and like
same
the
style,
art was great.
It's kind of a minimalistic feature type stuff, like very sleek and clean type look.
Exactly. I like lots of Wes Anderson stuff in terms of the way like the movie looks, like the way the shots are.
Yeah.
I think J.J. Abrams knocked out a lot of amazing shots in Star Wars and the newest Star Wars, even the open scene and just like, that scene of Rey in the desert,
with the old downed
Star Destroyer. Yeah. Like a lot of that super minimalistic look.
We were talking about heavy metal the other day.
Yeah,
I love heavy metal.
which like I love, just that like on headphone theme song with like
heavy metal.
Yeah, exactly. Like so I definitely grab inspiration from different sources and kind of make it my own.
Who's your favorite poet? You
like poetry? I'm a poetry guy.
Poetry guy.
Me too.
Putting me on the spot there.
Hey man, I'll be the first to admit I like poetry. I like to write poetry when I have time, which is never, but so I don't. But it's all good.
I definitely like haikus, but
yeah.
Now, what about like games? Like, what's like the? I'm assuming it might be Halo, but like,
yeah, it's definitely. I mean, the fact that I like seeked out the creative director of Halo to like connect with him obviously shows like what a huge influence it was.
Just a little bit.
And Halo was always like interesting for me because even the first time I played it, and it's not an open world, but like there was just these sections of these levels where you're just like in an open field. And I'm like, oh, well, that's different, especially coming from that like Doom, like playing Doom as a kid.
Corridors.
And right, yeah.
A lot of Doom, where it was like, go through the space level, find the blue key, do this,
Go back to the door, open it, open the next, find the yellow key.
Yeah, exactly. And whereas, Halo is just like, hey, we're on this weird planet.
Fun.
Shucks. Like, drive this warthog around. Let's find something. And so like that was definitely cool. Like even Assassin's Creed was amazing artistically, and that's just
the costume design on that is pretty phenomenal to me.
Yeah, and it's actually amazing if you ever visit any of the cities that were featured in Assassin's Creed, and you're like, oh, look at this building conveniently there just to climb up and then jump to this cathedral, and then you go see that cathedral, and you're like, oh, well, this is exactly what it looks like.
Mm-hmm. I was in Venice last year, no, 2014, I guess, May, and all I could think of was Assassin's Creed and climbing up everything. I was like, yep, I jumped off this. Yep, flew on that. Yep, I killed the guy right there.
If you ever go to the Middle East and you're like, when playing Assassin's Creed, I'm like, oh, look at all these like skinny little windows conveniently there for climbing, and like all these like rooftop grottos that you can just hide in.
Yep.
And then you get there and you're like,
okay.
Oh yeah, I can definitely climb this. Hold on. Honey, hold my camera.
I've done this before.
I think you should start a tour company in Venice and start selling those climb up a building tours.
Yeah, well, I actually have a picture. Maybe I'll show it to you guys when we like meet. But when I was in Venice, like there was, you know how it's like those really narrow streets, and I was having like a really big Assassin's Creed nerd moment, and I was like, dude, I bet you I could scale this building. And I was like, literally, the alleyway was maybe 4.5, 5 feet wide, and I got up to the third floor with like spidering up. I was up there just because I could. I go, this is fun.
Yeah.
And my sister's like, you're an idiot. I'm like, I know. Oh man. So yeah, I think those visual styles. So it seems to me like you like the big, grand, epic, expansive, but not overly, gaudy type experiences. So like the more just like immersive world type look.
Yeah, I mean,
aesthetic.
I definitely like immersive world, projects, but even simpler things like Limbo.
Yeah,
Limbo was like a beautiful game, and it was super simple. What was the Braid?
Yeah,
Braid. Oh yeah, Braid.
Yeah, Braid was another fantastic game. So like, I'm just I am inspired by different things that I can mix and match, and obviously it's hard. As a studio, to be like, okay, Loren, sit down. We're making the next Halo. So it's kind of having to look at it at a smaller scope and look at things like like we were looking at some of like the games coming out next year, and we were talking about what was that Fireman Overwatch?
Firewatch.
Sorry, Firewatch. Yeah, and like even just from the trailer, I'm like, oh, this is a beautiful game. And it's not like an expansive space opera story. It's like a guy who's like, hey, I'm on vacation. I'm going to take this job in this national park.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And like, and I was like, I'm so interested in this. Like, I want like a game where you're just, like firefighting. Like, that's so cool. And so it's nice to be able to kind of see the art in many different things rather than just like, oh, no spaceships. Well, this is dumb. So that's, as a kid, you have to be able to, to grab inspiration from many different sources.
Yeah, I think the fun part about being an indie developer is that like our inspirations are actually like effectively AAA titles, but as an indie developer, you can't really make them. But what you can do is you can take the essence of each game. Like you can take the essence of something like Half-Life, which had an amazing story, and you can you could bring it to something where you can make a story about it. Something's on a smaller scale, and you basically bring it down to its essence, and you tell that story, or you make those graphics, and that's really the fun challenge about being an indie developer is working in those constraints. And John Carmack is one of my all-time heroes, technical heroes, is talking about the constraints of dealing with VR, because now that he's running Oculus, he talks about the constraints of the constraints of level design. When you have constraints, you sort of make better decisions for a game than when you like can just say, let's throw 1 million trees in here and like that's the game. Okay. But like when you have constraints and you can only draw 5, like where do we place them? And it becomes more of an interesting, story or experience. And I think that's the fun challenge that we get to deal with every day.
Yeah. So that's a great point. It's probably a better to deal with where do we place these 5 trees than I have 8 megabytes of RAM. What should I do? Now, so Loren, I guess this is for both of you guys really. What is the game then or not what is the game, but Well, I guess what do you see your inspirations? Like, what are a couple of the games that you feel like are going to be inspiring the games that you guys are developing the most? Like, where do you think your strongest inspiration comes from, and how do you think that might come out in the games that you're developing?
Yeah. We're prototyping a bunch of different games right now. I think we could talk about a couple different types of inspirations, I guess, because we like story games. We also like multiplayer games, and they don't coincide.
Sorry. Actually, if you can even just give us, give the listeners an idea of some of the prototypes you're throwing around. You just
kind of go off the flow. What are you working on? What are you guys about? What do you guys want to get out there?
Yeah. So we're currently working on a couple prototypes. One of them is like a multiplayer team-based game. So we were talking about team-based, team-based voice chat, kind of really hardcore team tactical kind of stuff. And one of the prototypes we're playing around with is very much like a team-based game that is sort of like a top-down. So there's a lot of first-person shooter team-based games out there, and I think it would be fun if there was like a more casual but still equally tactical and equally team-based kind of top-down shooter, reminiscent of the old sort of top-down shooters that you would play as a kid, and something like Zelda, not necessarily a shooter, but like a top-down game like that.
Yeah.
Where
yeah,
exactly. Those. So we're sort of looking at like building a top-down shooter that you could play with friends a little more casually, but also still like have that level of team-based gaming. And so we're playing around with some of those. They're sort of futuristic in style, sort of spacey in like visuals and stuff like that. So they take place in like the near future, kind of like Minority Report or Oblivion, and they sort of have like that kind of style, that visual style. Marlon could probably talk more about that, but there's a lot of cool like team-based mechanics that we're working on to make the experience more fun. One of the inspirations for the stuff we're throwing around is like stuff like Rainbow Six Siege.
Oh cool. Yeah,
right.
And that's very, very much like a team oriented game, and you really cannot win if you don't have a team, if you don't communicate. That's like that's sort of one of the big inspirations for a game like this. But we're putting a different twist on a game like that, because we're not doing 3D, we're doing 2D, and we're doing like a more interesting story. There's more story elements to it. There's different game modes that I think are kind of fun. That's one of the games we're working on. We also have like a story-based game that is very early, so we're not going to talk too much about it. But we also have that silly side to us. Like we could be serious, but we can also be silly. So we like silly stories, stuff like Axe Cop and Rick and Morty. Fun things that you could just enjoy. Like I just want to enjoy playing this. Like Monkey Island was one of my favorite adventure games.
Yeah.
Something like that, where you could just like, hey, I just want to relax and go and be involved in a story, not necessarily hear a story, but interact inside of a world and see what happens. And we're working on some really fun titles that I think people would enjoy. We're really excited about them.
So basically, your release schedule is like one game a month in 2017. That sounds awesome. So. Awesome. So what's the most pressing? Which one is like the one that you think? I don't know if you guys can say. What are you most passionate about of those?
Well, so we were actually prototyping the team-based game, and Marlon tells the story well, so you could tell about like how we keep coming back to it.
So we were prototyping this top-down tactical shooter, which I kind of just pitch as like Hotline Miami with 3D graphics.
Yeah.
Nice.
And team-based.
Cool.
That's where we were inspired to get it from, with the a bit more tactical playing. And we were thinking of like fun stuff to do. We were talking about like in the levels, like having like hidden consoles on this space station, and throwing in Easter eggs. And we were like, we should have a mini game we're like in the middle of, and, you know, we were just like brainstorming. It was like almost midnight, and we were just kicking around ideas, and we're like, oh, and like you enter this mini game, like still in the middle of like an actual online game.
That's funny.
And it's like, and we were like, oh, a 2D, you know, a 2D like kind of like Space Invaders type thing. And then we like gave it a ridiculous name and a ridiculous story, and I think we were just like laughing about it for like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And then we're like, hey.
Well, we kept coming back to it. We kept every day we would you know, we could say, okay, let's get back to work. We would do some more work, and and we would come back to the console again, and we'd be like, oh, and then this happens in the story. Like, which story? The mini game story. And this is actually kind of funny.
And then you guys are like, you know what? Maybe we have something here.
Yeah, and yeah, exactly. Like if something keeps bringing you back to the story, we're just like, look, if it keeps drawing us back, there's clearly something there. And we're like, well, let's take some time and prototype out the, you know, let's look at what this would be.
Cool. So, well, I think that's awesome. You guys you guys have a lot of passion. You guys have a lot of cool ideas, and like I said, we're going to talk some more later about some stuff. But like I said, I'm excited to see what you guys do from here on out. So, for everyone listening, kind of what do you want to get across? Like, what's your spiel? How do you get a hold of you guys? Like, what's kind of like the be all and end all of Polyvex and Loren and Marlon?
Yeah, so we want to make fun games. I think it's really simple for us. We just want to make fun games that people enjoy playing. Things that inspire people the way that the video games inspired me and Marlon. You can reach us at polyvex.io. We have a website and we have a Twitter at Polyvex. And, you know, you could come say hi. We're still in the early stages, so we don't have much to show, but over the coming months, there's going to be way more content coming up. So keep an eye out. Go check our website. Go check our Facebook. Go check our Twitter, and interact with us and let us know what you think once stuff comes out.
Yeah, and we definitely want to network with as many interested people.
Yeah, we're looking for artists and stuff like that as we build out a team and start figuring out what we can build and how we can build it. So if you're interested in video games, making video games, and you have that artist eye, or even if you're a developer, we should definitely talk. Like we're all about that. We're building on a team as we speak. So,
right on. Well, awesome. Thanks, guys. We appreciate it. Some very insightful stuff, and we're looking forward to your projects. But John, you know what time it is?
Oh man, it's boss battle.
Oh yeah, it's time for the boss battle. So you guys know that at the end of every interview, we have a little thing we like to call the boss battle. So do you guys know who the boss of the week is?
Yes.
Yes, it is. Who is it?
Dr. Fetus.
Dr. Fetus. Middle fingers unite. What's up, fellas? Yeah, Dr. Fetus from Meat Boy. He's the boss of the week. So quick rundown of how the boss battle works. Dr. Fetus, he's the underdeveloped, pink, squishy, bird flipping, girl stealing, amniotic fluid drinking, dismembered meat boy type guy, that guy. So how it works is it's a series of questions or levels, and they're user or listener sourced. So listeners, you guys can send in your questions via social media or to our email address at jtexgamecast@raptorcow.com. Use the hashtag boss battle or subject line boss battle. So for you guys, how it works, 5 levels total, right? 4 normal levels on the way to the boss encounter of increasing difficulty, okay? Mm-hmm. You get 60 seconds for the first 4 levels. You have a power-up on the first 4 levels, which you can make any question 50-50. So you say power-up, you can make that question a 50-50 choice, which is good to have, right? If you get 4 out of 4 on the first 4 levels, you get a power-up for the boss encounter, the final encounter, right? So it behooves you to do well on the first 4 levels, right? Mm-hmm. You can warp from any level. If, let's say, time permitting, you can go back. So, hey, I don't know question 2, warp to question 3, right? And then if there's time, you can go back and re-answer, okay? If you get 5 out of 5, you get our Hall of Champions, and that's it. So it's real easy. First 4 levels, they're increasing difficulty, get hard, but we'll go through the answers. If you get all 4, you get another power-up. You try to take down Dr. Fetus. So,
awesome.
Yeah. Do you guys have any questions? We're going to alternate questions. So we're going to start with Marlon and then go to Loren and then Marlon, and then you guys both get You guys will both be on question 4 together. So,
Okay, let's do it.
Yeah, let's. I'm ready.
John, I know you're ready, bro.
Oh man, let's see what happens.
All right. So your guys' boss battle starts when I finish reading the first question. Going to Marlon. Level 1. In the game series in which your character Link is the protagonist, who is the princess who you are trying to say? Is it A, Gwyneth, B, Zelda, C, Peach, or D, Lady Gaga?
I'm going to go with Zelda.
B, final answer?
Final answer.
Alrighty. Level 2, going to Loren. What were the previous gen consoles? Name them.
Previous gen: Nintendo, Sega, Xbox.
Which
PlayStation.
versions? Which versions? We'll say that.
Xbox.
40 seconds.
PlayStation 3.
And okay, is that final answer?
And Xbox 360.
Final answer?
Yeah.
Okay, level 3. Going to Marlon. Name 3 of the 4 highest selling N64 games of all time. 30 seconds.
And name 3 of them.
3 of the 4.
GoldenEye,
Okay, there's 1.
Donkey Kong Country,
Okay,
Super Mario 64.
okay.
Do we just need 3?
Yeah, you only need 3. If you want to name a 4th, I'll let you have a 4.
I'm trying to think of like the year. I'm just going to go with NHL 05.
Okay.
But I
Final
don't-
answer?
Yeah, I think that was still Xbox.
20 seconds. Level 4. All right, for both of you. Who is the protagonist in Final Fantasy VI? And you guys
Now
still
don't
have power
forget,
up.
you guys have your power up, so you might as well use it.
Yeah.
It is either Bart's Closser or Tara Branford.
I'm gonna
10
go.
seconds.
I'm gonna go with Bart. I'm not a Final Fantasy nut, so I'm just gonna guess. I'm gonna go Bart's.
Yeah, let's go 50-50.
And time. Alrighty. Whew. Okay.
Wow.
So let's see how you guys did. Very deliberate in the answers. I liked it. You guys were coming out of the gate. I always like when the guests are like that, John. They just say, you know what? They just give the answer and go with it. You know, they don't deliberate on it. They don't Google it, like we've had a couple times.
I did go for the first one, but I was like, oh, there's a time limit.
Right. But yeah, so let's go through these. So level 1 question was, in the game series in which your character Link is the protagonist, who is a princess you're trying to save? The possible answers were A, Gwyneth, B, Zelda, C, Peach, D, Lady Gaga. Your answer was B, Zelda. Is that correct?
Yes.
The answer is indeed Zelda. Yay, everyone knows Zelda series. Yeah, nice job. I mean, Lady Gaga was I thought would be a lot better if that was a game. You search for Lady Gaga, but whatever. Okay, so good job, Marlon. Level 2. What were the previous gen consoles? And so we're in the current gen right now, which is Generation 8, which we have the PS4, right? Xbox One and the Wii U, correct?
Yep.
Loren, you said the Xbox, and then you changed to Xbox 360, and you said PS3, correct?
Yeah.
That's actually incorrect because you forgot the Wii. So,
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man. So,
Nobody remembers that.
I know, right? I mean, there's some good stuff on the Wii, but yeah, you forgot the Wii. Oh, man. So, no cigar on that one. So, bummer. Oh, well, no power up for the boss, but it's okay. Well, let's finish these last 2 questions. So, level 3 was name 3 of the 4 highest selling N64 games of all time, and this was you, right, Marlon?
Yeah.
You said GoldenEye,
Yeah.
Donkey Kong Country,
Right.
Mario 64,
Yeah.
and you also said NHL 05. Is that right?
And which only a Canadian would say NHL.
That was my next statement. I was gonna pull it back to hockey. I was like, your hockey mind is getting the best of you on that one because NHL 05, that wasn't even in the top 300. I'm sure. I'm just kidding. But good game though. But yeah. So your answers were 2 out of the 4. Oh, so close.
I know which one. I realized that we spoke about it like
we
8
did
times
speak
in the-
about it.
and I was like, it's such a good
the
game.
time impression and
I forgot what system it was on.
and what game?
Is that Zelda Ocarina of Time?
Yep, there you go. So, all right. So, in order, real quick. So the answers are number one. The number one selling of all time is Mario 64 with 11.9 million copies sold as of 2015. So, good job. And then number two is actually Mario Kart 64. 9.9 million copies. Yeah, number three was GoldenEye at 8.1 million, and number four was Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time with 7.6 million. Ooh, so bummer. So 1 for 3 so far. Ouch, that hurts.
Off the top of my head, though, I'm still pretty proud of myself.
That's not bad. That's honestly not bad. Yeah, 2 out of 4. Yeah. Good. So level 4, the last question in the gauntlet on the way to, you're on like the last spinning saws right now, and Dr. Fetus is throwing them at you, and it was the question was, who was the protagonist in Final Fantasy VI? That's a tough question. So level 4 is usually the toughest one, but if you're a Final Fantasy person, you should know. Use your power up here, which is good, which gave you 2 choices, which was either Bart's Klauser or Tara Branford. You guys came to do consensus of Bart's, correct?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
The answer was actually Tara Branford. She is the protagonist who opens up the game for Final Fantasy VI. She is a secret mage. She works for like a scientific government, and she has like crazy magic skills underneath everything. So, ouch! 1 for 4. Oof. You guys are hobbling.
But I'm gonna say 1.5.
Okay. Well, 1.5 for 4. So yeah, your armor's still broken. You guys are hobbling. It's rough, but you guys are limping into the boss encounter. And so Dr. Fetus is laughing at you and kind of like, haha, flipping you the bird again, of course, because that's what he does. Middle fingers.
As he slams some amniotic.
Amniotic fluid. Yeah, exactly. He's laughing. So. All right. So deep breath. Are you guys ready for the final encounter? The last question. You still have a chance to win this thing.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it.
All righty. Your boss battle, final encounter, starts when I finish reading the entire question. Are you ready?
Sure.
John, are you ready?
Oh, yeah.
Here we go. Dr. Fetus is the embodiment of his namesake, a fetus in a glass jar with a suit, a top hat, and an overly expressive monocle. He is the main antagonist in Super Meat Boy and harbors a grudge against Meat Boy by throwing down traps, monsters, and other obstacles in an attempt to kill him. His dickishness is further enhanced by the fact that he kidnaps Meat Boy's girlfriend, Bandage Girl, and let's not forget the excessive use of the middle finger. Your question. In human developmental biology, when a male and female zygote combine and produce offspring, they go through a series of stages: a fertilized egg, a blastula, an embryo, and eventually a fetus. What is Dr. Fetus's minimum age, or in other words, at what point in human development does a fertilized egg actually develop into a fetus? 30 seconds.
I'm going to defer to our biology expert over here.
Yeah, I have a biology degree.
As do I. That's why all my questions involve some kind of science and biology. So
Yeah. Except, like, I mostly studied ecology, so, like...
Oh, see.
Like,
Well, all right.
it's the draft.
Talk it through. 15 seconds.
I'm gonna go with 6 weeks.
Is that your final answer?
Sure, why not?
Yes.
And time. Okay. Deep breaths. All right. Dr. Fetus. Little funny fetus in a jar with a top hat. As you guys have played Meat Boy, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. So, the different stages, as you know, the zygotes combine, sperm and egg. There you go. After a week, you have a blastula, a little ball of cells, right?
Yeah, the raspberry thing.
Yeah, exactly. And then they develop into an embryo after about 4 weeks. Okay? You said 6 weeks was your answer.
Yeah.
The actual answer is 10 weeks. And that's actually surprisingly earlier than most people think, because by that time, the human fetus actually has developed eyes, arms, fingers, toes, all the heart and lungs and everything in there. It's tiny, but it's all developed into its actual little baby-looking thing at that point. So 6 weeks.
I even undershot that by 3 weeks.
You did. And so 6 weeks is not the correct answer, so you did not beat the boss for the week. Oh, sorry, fellas.
You didn't specify human, so...
Right, you're right, I didn't. Nice try. It's all right. Valiant effort, though. The boss battles are tough, but you guys did good. You guys came at it strong, and like I said, if I would have asked an ecological question, you would have nailed it right.
Probably.
Probably not.
All right, guys. Well,
I went to photography and video game design.
right. Well, there you go. So you guys are going home with absolutely nothing. So sorry to say that, but we're going to take a short break, get to a topic of the week, and maybe an email or two and get out of here. All right. So take a quick break. All right, we're back, fellas. Dr. Fetus ended up getting the best of you this time, but you know what? Those games are hard. You can always try next time. Restart, go again. So, every episode we have a topic of the week from our guests, and this week you guys bring up something pretty cool. It's unique, and so Loren, I'll let you introduce and kind of give us some background, and so we can discuss it for a few minutes.
Sure. So, I mean, driverless cars and self-driving cars is like kind of something that I'm personally interested in because I'm a technophile that loves technology, in addition to games. And we were talking about what fun things are related to driverless cars, and we were talking about just recently they started. Driverless cars are kind of becoming a thing. If CES, NVIDIA just launched their own like chip for driverless cars, and they're testing it. So NVIDIA is in the driverless the self-driving cars game now. Everyone's getting into it. And that's kind of interesting to me to see like everybody sort of it's becoming the VR of another industry. That they're starting to realize that there are challenges with this technology. One of them being a very interesting ethical challenge called the trolley problem, which is basically if you have it's described as like imagine a trolley going down a set of tracks and the tracks diverge and it can't stop and it's going to run and there are people on both tracks, right? And it's going to barrel down someone and unfortunately someone's going to die. And the trolley problem asks the ethical question of if there's 4 people on track A and 1 person on track B, which track should this autonomous AI decide to go down? Should it choose the principle of like saving the most amount of life, or should it make some other decision? Both decisions end in loss of life or some catastrophic ending. And it's an interesting ethical question. Like, what would we do? How would we program? Are we really going to program a robot to kill the least, or it's a very interesting technical challenge that people are actually trying to solve right now. Like, how do you deal with something that's out of control like that? Yeah.
Interesting. Well, the easiest solution is you look at the person's usages on their card and who has the most money left on their card, and you go down that track, right? No, no. Sorry to ruin that whole ethical moment, but yeah, I mean, wow, like you sent me the article and I read it, and then I kind of again read a couple more after it, and yeah, like AI is a big thing, and like you think of like AI modules in games, you think of like just writing AI like the whole Skynet thing, and it's a big thing. It's like because right now AI is programmed by humans, right? Yeah. And so there is an element of humanity, quote, so to speak, behind these robots. But it's like, yeah, do you as the coder and programmer feel ethically responsible for the life if it does happen, if that's your trained program and you do hear about it, right? Yeah. And then you actually program, you hit the enter key, boom, and you've just programmed this machine to choose, even 3 to 2, it's still a ratio. It's like, do you feel ethically responsible for that, right? Yeah. Because as driverless cars go, like it's stuff's going to happen, right? Yeah, it's really going to happen. So like even so like. When driverless cars happen, let's say like there's some kind of malfunction where the car can't stop. Well, there'll be fail-safes in the car where it's going to have to try to protect either the person in the car, there's one person in the car, or the 10 people that's going to run into in the street. So will it derail the person in the car, just flip the car? Yeah, and stop the car, or is it going to just run into a store and see 30 people in a store?
And it's an interesting question because someone paid for the car. They're for something that's supposed to protect them, Is it going to, if you can't guarantee the protection of the person, why then why would you buy the car if like that in some cases it's not going to protect you, and on the flip side, like what how do we as a society sort of deal with like the protection of general public, and like what kind of choices do we make about making sure there's least amount of loss of life and stuff like that. So public versus private questions that are very interesting. But also like AI in general, just like AI is being used in video games, AI is being used everywhere. Like what does it mean? Like if there's a bug in the AI, like these are interesting questions. Like if the autonomous vehicle has a bug, like what kind of, these are obviously much more magnified in real life than it is in video games, but it's sort of the same. It's the same underlying principle of like, we're going to have to start dealing with these kinds of things much more often as we sort of introduce real technology into like the heart of driving. Transportation is a really big part of our society, and it's going to be interesting to see how that really integrates.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, like, I don't think AI has really been integrated in society in as large a way as autonomous vehicles will cause them to be. Like
that's up front. No, AI is absolutely going on right now. It's just not in our face.
Yes, exactly. Right now, AI for Siri, and we have AI for like a couple of banking systems and stuff like that, but nothing that really like
that we can see and touch.
Yeah, exactly. Or even that really like affects our daily lives. Something like autonomous vehicles, that's like a much bigger, that changes, I think, things fundamentally.
Like a BB-8.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Well, to me, like you mentioned the programming and paying for something that is not going to protect you, and the conundrum of, hey, what track do you go down? To me, it's which is more important?
Yeah.
Is it more important to protect like the loss of life, or to protect the personal choice? So do you give up your choice at the expense of having AI determine loss of life, or is it more since, hey, I still want to choose, and I still want to be able to choose, and I still want to govern my own life, so so that I think that's the thing, because like, hey, I'm going to pay for this driverless vehicle, but I'm giving up my ability to choose to act at a time. It becomes that, do you want to give up that choice? That, or the illusion of choice, technically, if you want to get really in the woods and in the weeds about all this stuff, like, because that's what it is. Because once you hand it over to the AI, you have given up that right to choose, because the AI is going to choose for you in a driverless car situation, or as we go through more things. Like as things become more autonomous, the autonomy is the fact that you are giving up that choice because you're letting something else run it for you, whatever it may be.
But it's also the larger philosophical question, like the needs of the many versus the needs of the few.
Right. Is that more important than personal choice?
Yeah. And it's like nice to sit here and think like, well, of course human life is so important.
But
the life of the individual. But then it's like, hey, would you want to raise taxes and make life better for everyone? You're like, well, I kind of want to buy this new console coming out next year. So
yeah, I mean, yeah, when you ask the individual, they're going to say like, hey, I'm spending $40,000 or whatever $1,000 on this car. I'm not going to buy something that I'm not going to spend $40,000 on something that won't protect, like explicitly will choose to not protect my life if that time comes. Like that's why you have safety ratings on cars, specifically so like we don't
actually. If I have an autonomous vehicle and if someone hits me and injures me, let's say I'm not able to seek revenge, like I want my car to go on like a Terminator quest of vengeance. That's what I'm paying for.
The trolley problem is you have to kill everyone on the track.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, the thing is too, it's like, okay, the trolley problem, right? So you have 5 people on one track and 1 person. What if the 5 people just got done robbing a bank and the 1 person is a single mother?
Yeah.
Like, what's that? Like
it should look you up on Facebook.
Right. That's what I'm saying. It should have like a little link. Like we should have Minority Report. Everything. We should be Big Brother. A little chip in the back of our head should like, oh, these people are scumbags. Go ahead and kill those 5 people. Versus this 1 person. The
real question is like, why are they on the track?
Well, yeah, that's true too. But let's say they're in the road, because in the trouble. Right. Yeah, let's say they're in the road. But or what if it's? I mean, here's this other point of life. It's like, okay, what if you have 5 80-year-olds and 1 20-year-old?
Right.
Yeah.
You know, what about that? It's like,
Yeah.
is life?
I love Logan's Run. By the way.
It's just interesting. Like, yeah, it's like what do you choose? But
You
love
my
it.
question for you guys is, okay, as
You know the movie Logan's Run, right?
yeah,
Familiar? Yeah, the Farrah Fawcett movie
Yeah.
where everyone has that red ruby on their
Yeah.
hand. And well, I mean, for the people listening who may have not seen it, everyone in this like futuristic society, it's like a utopic kind of society. After 30 years old, they're like
They're done.
they're killed. Yeah,
They're done.
they're like blown
expendable,
up.
yep.
Done, son.
Yeah, so it's
Or it's kind of like Out of Time with like the Justin Timberlake one. You know, you seen that one?
yeah,
Like, you
yeah.
get to age 25, your ticker starts going down, and like everything's
That was
like.
actually an underrated. That was an
I
underrated.
liked that movie.
Yeah, I did. I like the premise of it. It was like a
So,
really
yeah,
interesting.
you buy time. You know, people are essentially immortal. But yeah, it's definitely interesting. It's like I want to like John and Loren from a developer / coder standpoint. Like, I mean, I've dabbled in code back in the day, so I mean, and even you, Marlon, like, what kind of choice would you want to make? If you were in a career to program this stuff, would you be comfortable of making that choice?
I think the most interesting way to look at it is, I don't know if this answers the question, but I think the
No,
thing
either way, it's
interesting
there's
to
no
think
answer.
about is, yeah, that's true. Is how would this be programmed if a robot program, like if a computer programmed this, what choice would they made? Or thinking of it differently, like if this wasn't human life, if it was like a bunch of rats
Right.
that it was making the choice for, like what kind of decision would we make? We would probably
I'm
not.
using empirical stuff because, like, even to me, that's why I brought up the point of like the 80-year-old versus the 20-year-old, or like the bank robbers versus the single mother. Like, you know, the good person's like, to me, like, I don't want to sound crass, but loss of life isn't as important as the actual quality of the individual. Like,
Right. And that's what I was getting at, is like basically what you have is you're sort of you're removed from the emotion when you're programming for non-humans. There's a little bit, you know, there's a little bit of less emotion, and obviously like we don't want to kill dogs and cats and animals.
No, yeah, I understand,
At the
but-
same time, like I don't think anyone would worry too much about. There are some people who would care about like killing a rat. But at the same time, like I think a lot less fewer people would be worried about that kind of choice. But once you bring humans into it, it becomes, we're emotionally invested in our own species. It's obvious. But if a computer made the decision, it would be interesting. I think one kind of funny way to do it would be like to just introduce a random number generator. That's it. Then you're sort of, it's not my, I didn't cause it.
but as you know, Lauren,
But I
there's
would
no
not.
such thing as a truly random number generator.
That's true, but at the same time, I still
better
think
than right.
It's interesting. Obviously, if you've ever been in a car accident and have a plate in my spine from one, that you realize just how fast things happen.
John,
Like,
yeah.
exactly. John knows exactly what I'm talking about. Like, let's say you're a car and you're, you know, at a red light and there's a huge crowd of people crossing the street, like in New York City, you know, and then you get rear-ended, you know, and your car is just sent into this crowd of people. You know, like what decision, you know, and it happens so fast, like what decision can the car even make? You know, turn the wheel left or right? Like what crowd of people is it going to go into? And,
Yeah.
you know, it's...
that is a good point. A lot of these decisions, a lot, not all, but a lot of decisions are not necessarily like a thing that you can actually reliably, like you can't, even if the car was skidding out of control, there's not much you can reliably do that would cause the car to, you know, like if you actually had control of the car and say like I could flip it and stop it and kill the person, then you actually kind of have control.
That's what I'm saying. If there's like a charge or anything, just blow up the bottom of the charge like a movie and flip it over and kill that one person in the car and stop the car and not kill a crowd of people. But then that's going into like, oh, this car could kill me.
Yeah, but we don't. I mean, it's sort of it implies the premise that you still have control over the situation, which is kind of the point, is that you actually don't have control of the situation. So
Right. Well, then
I think there's times when that decision is valid, but I also think that that it is kind of a theoretical ethical question as well. There's a lot.
Take a step back from that too. Okay, so car accidents or trolley stuff. That's usually like, oh, I'm driving, I was texting, or something happened, or some person wasn't paying attention, I drove on the wrong way, and oh crap, I'm going to make a bad decision, I need it, right? Well, driverless cars are supposed to be driverless and safe for a reason. So if this is happening, there's already been a malfunction in the system. So if I'm in the car, right, and the car is going, the brakes malfunction, or like it goes on the wrong route, that's a program error, first of all, and then the thing's going to kill me on top of it. Like, holy cow. Like,
well, not all of the errors would be programming errors, but that's true. I mean, that raises
if it is in total driving mode, like if it's in like total like autonomous mode and I have no control, I'm sitting backwards, like taking a nap or something.
You can have mechanical failure that isn't necessarily programmed. But at the same time, it raises a good point of like, well, if it was a programming error, then can you really trust a program to fix the program, the fault
program error?
Like if your system crashed or and the redundant systems crashed as well, then like what good is the backup code that's going to stop it?
My question is, why are these cars running Windows then?
Yeah, I was actually going to say it has like the Apple pinwheel on it.
Oh, that's funny.
Well, what if you take this a step back further, like once removed from this situation? Because I'm thinking, you hand over control if you get in a taxi cab. You hand over control if you get in a bus. You hand over control if you get in an airplane. You hand over control if you get in a subway, a train. So, I mean, we're already doing that to a sense as it is.
And a train just drives in a straight line on a predetermined track, and there's still, problems that arise.
Yeah, train wrecks are like some of the most catastrophic out there. Because when the train wrecks, it wrecks. It doesn't just like skid. It just derails.
And if we're from Canada, where we, even John in New England has experience driving on ice and through snow.
Oh yeah, I used to live in Minnesota, man. Like, oof.
Oh yeah, I didn't know.
Yeah.
Hey, Minnesota hockey.
Hockey's out. Yep. The Wild. Yeah. I've been to a couple Wild games.
Yeah.
But I think to a certain point where people are already sort of doing that. I mean, it's out of your control, and you're hoping the individual driving said vehicle or airplane or whatever, isn't like under the influence of anything, or but you're still you're giving up that control, and if something happens, you can't control any of that either.
Yeah, but even the amount of time we spent discussing this topic is probably still more considerate than like any driver like texting has ever like
oh god
put into like the value of human life.
That's why we have driverless cars, is so they don't make those. So they don't have to think about it.
The fact that we're even discussing this means that driverless cars will probably be safer because other people are like, I don't know, I got to get to the mall.
At the end of the day, that driverless cars are going to be safer than the manual ones have. I think the interesting part about this is not necessarily how much damage is going to be done, but like, to Ted's point, like, can you as a programmer write code that effectively will make a decision about who dies, who lives, and who dies? Like, I don't know. To answer your question directly, I don't know if I could make that decision as use these decisions. Like, she's younger than him. She should therefore like, I don't even know if I would be comfortable.
Yes. Well, statistically speaking, if you look at statistics and like numbers, like and empirically, like writing just an empirical data formula, I would be okay, because here's a stat that I actually just read, probably 6 months ago. People are so scared of, like when a plane crash happens, right? It's like on the news. It's crazy, right? It's like the most catastrophic thing ever when something happened, and you're more likely to die by getting struck by lightning twice in the same day than to die in a plane crash. So it's just so rare, but the average person in America, every time you go outside and drive a car, 1 in 5,000 chance of dying. Yeah. If you live in a large market like LA, it's 1 in 3,000. 1 in 3,000 chance. And we take that chance every day. And it's like 1 in like 7 million in a plane. 1 in 3,000 in LA, and you have a chance of dying. Like, that is such a high odds that we play every day, and it's just insane. But we don't make a big deal about it. And so, something like driverless cars that could actually reduce, and end up being safer, and then use that empirical, code and the empirical, the formula. Be like, okay, if this then, which would kind of lower that. If that lowers that across the board, because as you know, statistics do not affect the individual, they affect the whole sample size, right? So it's like, if that in a larger data set makes me safer, I think I'd be more apt to being okay with it. right?
Yeah.
But it's just like the whole ethical thing is like, would I be the guy to be like, okay,
Yeah.
hit enter?
Well, last night we were walking to Radio Shack just to get a splitter for our headphones for this podcast, and we saw a guy like back out of he was backing out of his parking space. He must have had 3 car lengths, and he went right into like the wall
Behind it.
Nice.
Yeah, and didn't even stop to check his car, and then just like sped out of the parking lot and made like a blind left turn, like into
straight
traffic
in the middle of
yeah.
the green.
And we were laughing, and like that's exactly kind of
yeah.
what got up. And, like,
And then like a couple weeks ago, if you look on, I think put it on Instagram, I talked about it. Shauna and my girlfriend and I, we were going to brunch, and if no joke, if I would have like taken another 10 seconds or like faster in my car after I parked it, and we would have walked, I would have got ran over. Like this kid runs over the traffic light, like runs over the pole and like runs over it, and like maybe 150 feet in front of us. Like right on the corner of the road. I'm like, oh my gosh, 10 seconds earlier, we would have got hit. Yeah. It's just like, you never know, man.
Yeah.
So, well, yeah, that's a great topic. Honestly, very insightful. Now you got my wheels turning, and I'm like, all like, huh.
I think to me the interest is this is a good way into driverless car theory, but I think that another interesting problem that you should probably talk about in another podcast is just the image recognition and all the other like technology that goes into driverless. It's like even just navigation, like AI navigation, path navigation, stuff like that. Very hard problems to solve, very non-reliable problems to solve. Like there's lots of error and noise and signal and stuff like that. And interesting problems there too, like from a technical perspective, from a game theory perspective and stuff.
Sure.
Like that. Yeah.
Well, we got to have you back on then, right?
Yeah.
For sure. Well, that's awesome. We appreciate the topic, and yeah, right on. So we got some time
Google
for. Say it again.
Google, if you're listening, send me a card. Give me my address.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so just send it. It'll
Apple's working on it, NVIDIA.
yeah, exactly. Well, the cool thing is too, you can buy a car online and it drives to your house. Oh, nice.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Sweet. Well, we have time for a couple emails before we get out of here. You guys got a couple more minutes?
Sure, yeah.
Let's do it. And then, John, we'll get you out of here. So, we got a lot of emails this week, but we'll just hammer out a couple of them. Start at the top. I guess we kind of touched on this a little bit. If you guys want to write into the show, the email address is jtexgamecast@raptorcow.com. So this comes in from Jordan R. in Houston, Texas. It says, what are the best trends in gaming of 2016 that you see going forward, and what are the worst? I'll just throw it up to you, Marlon. Go ahead, take a swing.
I think hold on. We were talking about this last night.
Yeah, we were spending some time last night talking about this stuff.
The worst trends are free to play games.
Is that a new trend though, 2016, or has that just like been around for like 3 years?
2016, fine. So one of the worst trends of gaming for 2016 specifically is the TV commercials for free to play games.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And
I don't know that
and
we can
billboards all around Los Angeles promoting these free to play games.
I don't know that we can make decisions about 2016 because we don't really know what trends have happened.
Well, no, I'm saying what's going like. What do we see trending in 2016?
Right. Yeah. I would like not to see those things trend.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Those are the worst. Yeah, for sure. Like I'm on board with those.
And enough with these ultimate definitive collections of games.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Come up with a new idea. Don't don't.
New IPs are good.
I think it means that the Ori and the Blind Forest that I bought is undefined.
Yep, it's not definitive. No, it's not. It's confused edition.
Yeah.
So,
Gears of War 3 Ultimate Collector's Edition.
Yeah.
The Ultimate Collector's Remastered, re-released edition, revamped.
As much as we talk about VR, I think that's the best trend of 20. That's going to be the biggest trend of 2016. Mm-hmm. Obviously, that has only it can only get better. Like there's only up for it to go.
Cool.
So I'm excited about that.
I think like Twitch growing.
Yeah,
like streaming growing.
Yeah. For sure. Well, cool. I like all those answers. I'm on board with all those thoughts too, because there's some good things. There's definitely some rough things going on, and for me, it's like I have one here before we go on to the next email that is a good and bad. the best trend of 2016 is esports. The worst
That's
trend of
what I was-
2016 is esports.
Yeah.
I think esports is going to get disgustingly pervasive and just to the point of where it's just blanketing everything until it figures out that, it can't do that. And then it kind of makes itself in a niche market and calms down, right? Until the money land grab happens and then, and then it calms down and segments itself into like a coherent, nice, good thing, right? So, so that's what what I'm thinking. So, cool. I'll skip this email. Let's go. Here's a funny one. Okay, guys. I thought this was funny. This comes from Josh from Scottsdale, Arizona. Okay, it says sex, marry, kill. You guys ready? You guys played that game, right? John?
Yeah.
Okay, this is video game status. I laughed on these ones. So we're gonna go around the table, starting with you, Loren, then Marlon, then John, and then me. Okay. So sex, marry, kill. Mario, Luigi, and Toad.
Are we doing these?
Yes, go ahead, Loren. You're up first.
I would definitely marry Mario because he's married to a princess.
Okay.
So once he divorces, he gets half her assets.
Oh, smart. Okay.
So I think that would work.
Okay. So you marry.
Luigi would die because he's just a duplicate.
Okay.
And then I guess would have to have sex with Toad. So
Okay.
I don't think it's a bad thing necessarily.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, got a cute little mushroom hat. Nice. Okay. Marlon, what do you got?
Okay, so I think Mario's too used to being the center of attention, and I think he would just be like way too high maintenance for me. So I would definitely marry Luigi because I'm a middle child.
He would try hard, right?
Yeah, Luigi really wants that belonging. Luigi's that's real love. So Luigi, let's go to Connecticut. Let's have a nice.
All right, fair enough. Okay.
And listen, Toad's not really a person, so I'll knock that off my fuck it list.
Okay, good. And then so the kill is Mario?
Yeah, so Mario's gone.
Okay, fair enough. John, what do you got?
I liked Lauren's reasoning. I would probably go with what he went down with.
All right, so marry Mario, sex with Toad, and kill Luigi?
Yeah.
I think I'm more on the Marlon. I think I would definitely... No, actually, you know what? I would probably... Yeah, I would do the Loren deal because I would. I like the tallness of Luigi. I like tallness, right? Or Marlon. Yeah, Luigi's tall. I like that, so I'd marry Luigi. I would definitely probably kill Mario and Toad and just kind of sex up Toad. There you go. Okay, there's a couple more here. Master Chief, Solid Snake, and Kratos. We'll go reverse order this time, John. Who would you sex, marry, kill? Master Chief from Halo, Solid Snake from Metal Gear Solid, or Kratos from God of War?
Boy. I don't have really any rhyme reason for any of this,
It's
but
okay.
I would marry Snake.
Uh-huh.
Let's see. Kill off Kratos, and then end up shacking up with Master Chief.
Fair enough. That's fair enough. All right, Marlon, what do you got? I like that.
Okay, so I'm doing this. My logic here is a process of elimination.
I like the logic. It's fantastic. Yeah. It's very theoretical but good.
So I don't want anything to do with Master Chief romantically because, as we all know, he was genetically modified.
Oh.
And the Spartan 2s were they're programmed not to feel love and emotion or even have sex. Master Chief is a virgin in the game. It's alluded to in the books.
Well, think about this though too. We'll put it in this little wrench in it. When you marry them, you don't get to have sex with them because married, you don't have sex.
So you don't have to worry about that.
Well, I'm married.
I know, I'm just messing with you.
I got 5 kids, dude.
Yeah. John, you've at least done it 5 times, John.
Yeah. But so, Master Chief, I don't want anything to do with that. And plus, he has lots of emotional problems. And
okay, so you're killing Master Chief then?
Yeah. And Kratos, he's a Spartan, right? And so I think with all the passion, definitely that's who you want to get into bed with.
Get jiggy with. Gotcha.
And then by process of elimination, I guess I'm marrying Solid Snake. So I hope that's some good benefits.
Okay, cool.
But
he's also genetically modified. He's a clone.
Yeah, exactly. He's a clone. But I mean, he wasn't changed.
Maybe he's sterile. You don't know.
Yeah, it's true. But you know what? You hang out with him and
that's okay. They don't have to worry about babies.
Yeah.
Right, yeah,
Like,
you're not sexing up. It's marriage, right? Gotcha.
maybe quiets around.
Yeah,
hanging
see?
around. Anyways,
All right, Lauren, you're up.
I would probably. Marlon told me that about because I'm not too familiar with the Halo world, but he told me about the genetic modification. I'm like, I have a no GMO policy.
Oh, yep.
Sleep with Master Chief. And I'd probably have sex with Solid Snake because he has the best body, and then I guess I just kill Kratos.
Oh, Kratos is a half god though. He's pretty buff, dude.
Yeah, but
yeah, Solid Snake's like a real dude though. He's
Yeah.
like, what's up?
He's
All
like-
right, fantastic.
wait. So are you killing Master Chief and Kratos?
no. I'm marrying Master Chief.
Oh, you're marrying Master
Yeah.
Chief.
Oh, okay, fair enough. That's
Yeah.
cool. I think I would go along the same lines that I think I would marry. No, I would. I would actually go the GMO. I like processed food, so I would sex up Master Chief all day. Kill Kratos because he's annoying as hell. He's just angry all the time. I'm not going to marry him and get beat up. And I'll be at a battered shelter, and then Solid Snake would be the hubby or the wife, whatever you want to, whatever role he wants to play. There you go. So the last one, just for the sake of just craziness of this, we have girls now. Sweet, Lara Croft, Samus, and Chun-Li. So Lara Croft from Tomb Raider, Samus from Metroid, and Chun-Li from Street Fighter. So Lauren, we'll go you.
Okay. I would probably have sex with Lara Croft because she's still raiding tombs. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, she's I don't know if she's. I don't know. I like successful women. So,
Right.
So I mean, if she's still out there raiding tombs, she hasn't really. She still has to work for it. Mm-hmm. So, but she does have a really nice body.
Right.
Samus, I'd probably marry.
Same.
She's like a
She has a suit of armor and she
Boss
can
up
shoot
there.
people. She's a gangster. Like, she's
Exactly.
awesome. Yeah.
Exactly. So I respect that. I like strong women. So Samus, I'd marry.
Yep.
She'd be my bae.
Uh-huh.
Chun-Li, I guess she has to die.
Yeah, same, because I don't want to get beat up. She would just kick me 1,000 times in like a minute. Like, I'm like, ah. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, Marlon, you got the same type of reasoning, or do you got a little wrench in it?
Like, I love Chun-Li. I love the Street Fighter series. But, she's a journalist, and she moonlights as, like, a Street Fighter.
I like that you know this trivia.
I know he knows the backstory of Master Chief.
Yeah.
He knows the backstory of Chun-Li.
No, I didn't sleep last night because I, looked at this list, and I really, jumped in and did my
That's
research.
awesome. This is hilarious.
My wife, and I was like, "Hey, help me out with these."
She's like, Lara Croft is hot. Let's bring her home.
Well, listen, I'm having sex with Lara Croft, and just
Fantastic.
because Lara
Yeah.
Croft, and
It's Lara Croft.
I mean, I've grown up and I've matured, so I'm not like,
I had the Nude Raider mod. It's okay. Don't worry about it.
Introduced her, and that's how they sold her to me. So like, I'm fulfilling that. Mm-hmm. In terms of marriage, I don't know. Like, even though Samus was kind of like a generic video game character, like she seems like gentle. Like I feel like there's lots of, there's a lot more behind.
And she can save the universe like anytime you want.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and like, I really feel, I would marry Samus, and I think I would, like, I love Chun-Li, but I would kill her because that's an amazing
Because
story.
you loved her.
No, but yeah, Chun-Li's a badass, but guess what? I'm more badass. She's dead. I'm here. What up? Who's the Street Fighter now?
Oh, I see. Wow. All right. That was way more in depth than I thought we'd go, and it's absolutely awesome. Good job, fellas. Let's move on to the last email of the day and get out of here. Good job. Now I have those images forever in my head. Now I have some things to think about. John, this is the last email, but it's perfect. Energy drinks, right?
Oh, go.
So we got an email in that says Johnny and Teddy and Guesty ? Nice subject line. It says energy drinks that chill you out. It says take a look at these. Would you drink these? From Julian M in Marietta, California. And so I'm going to read this quick little press release. I'll just overview it. It says India Globalization Capital Inc. announced today. This is as of December 14th that it has basically distributed a new. Created agreement with Canna Brands AG. It's a company that's in the Burlington Stock Exchange that distributes energy drinks based on hemp seed extract. So hemp is different than the marijuana, so it's not quite the like the effects, but it still get a relaxing effect from it. So it's like what? You get an energy drink that chills you out, but it's based on the marijuana plant stuff, and then they're thinking about expanding it to where you get the marijuana THC effects as well into these energy drinks. So, and they're going to start distributing these first ones based on hemp in the U.S. this year. So
it's kind of an oxymoron.
I know. Yeah, it's like energy drinks that chill you out. Okay. Would you guys drink these? I don't know. This I think this is episode like the 5th episode in a row we've talked about energy drinks because we brought it up once and people keep writing in. It's funny. So
my answer is a straight up no because I don't drink energy drinks. Period. Mm-hmm. I guess that's probably, I don't know whether that's a good decision or not.
No,
but
I don't either.
So my answer is probably sorry. Like I don't. But yeah, none of that sounds appealing to me.
I know hemp-based energy, hemp-based drink. Period sounds gross. I wouldn't drink any hemp-based drink. Like what? Like I guess there's a big hemp thing. It says like the flavor, amino acid profiles, and the other health benefits from like the hardcore hippies in Berkeley are like, yeah, dude, you gotta drink this stuff, man. It's hemp tea. No, man, like I'm good. I'm all right. So.
I think obviously there's a growing industry in that. With that whole weed culture, someone like people will buy it just because there's a marijuana plant on it.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what it is. Exactly.
Yeah.
And
but
yeah,
like what? Like just smoke some hash and then drink a Red Bull.
Yeah, you're good. Exactly. Kind of so you don't pass out.
Yeah.
But Four Loko is banned now, like in Canada, and like drawing back to my my experience working with Epic Mealtime, like they would they had lots of Four Loko around. They like bought up as much as they could once it was like stopped production. And one of like the drunkest night I've had in my life was when they're like, hey, like
rum and Four Loko.
No, it was just like one can of Four Loko, like plus some other pre-drinking, and they're like, hey, only drink half, like. I was like, why? It's not that bad. Like I've had half, and I drank a full can. And let's just say, like then, like I was 28.
The next 48 hours.
My mom had to like drive me to like get my car the next day. As I was just like wearing sunglasses all day and not feeling so well.
Wow.
So I'm not. I stay away now from these mixed
concoctions of like whatever they are. Yeah, so no go. So no cannabis energy drinks in my book. So
yeah.
All right, I think that's gonna do it, everybody. I think every week we have a closeout segment like we like to do. Yeah, John, this week's closeout segment is Guess That Game for the listeners. So you can write in with the answer and put in the subject line, Guess That Game. And the first person who writes in with the correct answer gets a prize. So what do we got, John?
So you'll obviously tell sort of what game this is when you hear the description. So this title has many, many different, various options. So here we go. So this game, you are Darth Vader, hired by Palpatine to find the last Jedi that survived the Jedi Purge that Palpatine ordered. And you'll travel to the Wookiee homeland in this game. What game is it?
You heard it right there. So write in with a subject line, Guess That Game, and the first person to write in will get a prize. So Loren, Marlon, thank you both for being on the show. Go ahead and give your last shameless plugs on what you guys are, what you guys doing, how to get a hold of you, why you guys are so awesome.
Yeah, we're awesome.
Well, we know that, but tell everyone else why.
So Polyvex Interactive is our company. We're really excited to start making some games. We just started up. Check us out on polyvex.io or at polyvex on Twitter. I had tons of fun on this show, so it was fun for me.
Yeah, definitely love being on it. Hit us up on Twitter if you want to talk Star Wars Episode 7.
And what are your guys' handles real quick so you guys get them?
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm at Marloned, MarLowned.
And I'm L. Segal, L and my last name. You could just look us up. I think our Twitters are going to be on our website as well. So
perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Awesome.
Yeah, right on. So You guys can get a hold of us through email, jtexgamecast@raptorcow.com. Through social media, all of our social media is the same. Twitter, Instagram, all that stuff is at jtexgamecast. My personal social media is tedwords44. That goes across the board. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all that stuff. John on Twitter is jnado, NADEAU7. Join our Facebook group, John and Ted's Excellent Gamecast group. Find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play. Subscribe, share with your friends, all that stuff. Write us a review. We like it. Check out the podcast website. It's www.raptorcow.com/jtexgamecast. Write comments on there on the shows. And yeah, just email us anytime. Say what's up. And thanks a lot, guys. We appreciate it. And until next week.
Game over.